No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Said I might be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get to glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tottenham Away. It's Newcastle 2, Tottenham 1. And I'm just going to say this before we even begin. It's what we are. No, it is what it is, mate. And Levy out. It's back to the drawing board. We've done it again. We've got James, we've got Dietrich, we've got Dan, we've got Kuva, who hasn't been on in a while. Let's quickly say hello to everyone. Big up the chat. Thanks for joining us. Smash a like, subscribe. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to comment during the show. I'll try and get as many comments up on the screen. But let's quickly say hello before we get into this one, because this has divided the fan base right down the middle on social media and across YouTube. We will tell you how it is, though, here. I guarantee you. James, you all right, bro? How you doing? I've noticed you've changed your Spurs top for a PSG. Good idea.
Yeah, to be fair, I've had this on all day. It's one of them. I can't be seen in that anymore. To be fair, I've got to say, I feel a bit better after you playing that tune before we started. I swear you must have got that from Eros back in the day.
Will Stewart found it, so yeah. I don't know if it's Eros, but who knows? Dietrich, you all right? You good?
I'm good. How's everyone doing? Just want to say I missed Kuva. Hope he's But I just want to say back to life, back to misery.
Misery. It's unreal. It's unreal. Dan, how you doing? You've been on a few streams today. You good?
Same Spurs, different day, mate. Nothing I didn't expect. So, same Spurs, different day.
You did call it. You did call it. And Kuva, he's back. He's back from the doldrums. He's back from the depths of somewhere in England. How you doing, Kuva? You right? You good?
I'm doing well. Forget the fan base being divided. I feel divided about that performance. There was there was some bits to that game I actually thought we were doing well, but at the end of the day, you don't put it all together. It's pointless. So yeah, same old Spurs, isn't it? There's a promising thing on the horizon. We somehow managed to steer and avoid it.
we don't like the pot of gold, do we? We don't like it.
Swerve.
Sava, you all right? You good? How you been?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, listen, do you know what? I'm just here for Kuva. I didn't know he was going to be here, but now I'm here just for him. Yeah, listen, normally I feel like I've said all my bit. I did a 5-hour stream, but I can't fathom it still. Well, I'm sure we'll get into it, but it doesn't matter what facts are presented to this fan base. We are living in a different world. Like everyone's just making up things, and I'm in the minority. I don't know, but yeah, thanks for having me. It's really nice to see you. Haven't for about 4 hours.
Listen, you say that. You say that. I went on We Are Tottenham TV today.
I saw that.
It got pitched as positive versus negative, but all I did was tell the truth. I literally read out the stats, which are factual, and that's classed as negative. And someone who says no, it's all fine is positive, and it just went off for 30 minutes.
Mad.
But
it's madness.
I'll watch it after.
There's logic to it, isn't there? Unless you are top of the league unbeaten, then there has to be something negative happening.
Kuba, you're right. But you know what? It's almost like it doesn't exist. It's all a myth. Apparently, we did win. We thought we saw a loss. But Michael, how you doing? You're right. How have you been?
But even Man City have some things about them that they aren't doing perfectly, right? So, like, are the fans from Man City that are pointing those things out negative? It's just ridiculous, yeah. And by the way, because I'm not doing the YouTube thing with the channel, right, etc. But I am on different media, right, like Reddit, etc. I am keeping tabs on every motherfucker that told me that Werner and Odobert and Johnson are good enough for this club. I am keeping tabs, and at the end of the season, I'm not going to post it on YouTube, but I will be watching. And I will remind people, because I said at the beginning of the window when we signed Werner again, I told people there that it's a shit signing. I was like, no, he fits the system. He did well. Look at his 2 goals and 2 assists in 16 games that he had for us when he was at the first loan. And like, we will get into it, right? Because, we have this saying in Polish, it translates to English for something like missed opportunities come back to bite you, or something like that, right? And I think this game today was the perfect example of that, right? When you miss the chances that we missed, especially in the second half, just the fate fucks you over. So that's the way I see it.
Except it's happened so many times before.
Yeah, because we keep missing our chances, right?
We're going to get into it. I just want to say a quick thank you to Barbaric, channel member. Thank you so much. Anthony for the super chat. Big up to Stel and everyone on the channel. Stel, I could have listened to you and Charlie. I should have listened to you and Charlie about not giving Emerson a chance because he's been awful for us at AC Milan. I don't know why you thought he was going to be good. Right.
He's been shit. I've been watching him. He's been shit.
I don't know if you guys seen this. Jesus Christ.
Why would anyone expect any different? I don't understand.
No, it's worse. No, it's worse than Tottenham. Yeah, it's worse.
They're all fans are meant to be already writing out a petition to get him out or something.
Yeah, there's a petition. Him and the coach.
It's the modern trend, isn't it, of believing that a player's good just because they're athletic.
Boys, you're all so negative, man.
I am. So, do you know what? James, somebody just messaged me right on my YouTube and said, "Do you know what, Sava? This is the reason why you're known as a meme in the fan base. A meme. Like that's where I'm at. I'm a meme.
Next level.
Can I be famous from being a meme? Like
Yeah.
rich?
Yeah. That's that
cool,
hot school girl. She was a meme. That's
the picture I want. Right? That one
No,
right
come on, you and the pug.
there. Me and the pug giving 2 fingers to Ange.
Big up to William as well, member for 16 months. Thank you so much, William. Look, guys, I was thinking of quickly discussing the starting lineup, then getting into what actually happened, the goals, the halftime stats, the second half, the missed chances, the stats, and then I do want to talk about the timing, about Ben. I want to talk about how this happens. Just saying, it happens again.
Look like the 2 fingers went somewhere, doesn't it?
It's like this side usually, isn't it? Run out of batteries after 70 minutes.
And people that aren't blaming Ange for anything, I want to talk about this guy because he's proving that actually managers can make an impact. But anyway, let's get into it. So, look, I'm not going to go around and everyone have a chance. Just talk whatever you want. Just don't talk over each other, and we'll go. So, starting 11, we had Vicario, Porro, Romero, Dragusi, and Udogie. So the news: Van der Ven out. We all panicked, alarm bells. But Ange said he's got the squad he wants, and he's been back, so he's got to deal with it. So Dragusin comes in for Van der Ven. Midfield of Sarr, Basuma, Maddison. So Sarr comes in, and Kulu was dropped out of the middle because he started there against Everton. Bentancur didn't start. And then we went with a front 3 of Kulu, Son in attack because Solanke and Richarlison are both injured. And Odebert starts out wide. So Werner still benched. Johnson dropped. The subs were Foster, Spence, Davies, Bergvall, Divine, Gray, Bentancur, Werner, and Johnson. We're going to discuss the state of this bench because some people think it's fantastic, others say otherwise. And Newcastle, and I did say this before the game. So they've gone with the back 4: Livramento, Craftburn, and Kelly. Longstaff actually started instead of Tonali. Gramaris and Joelinton in the middle, but he went with in the middle. Let me just remove this banner. Harvey Barnes, Isak, and Gordon. And I said it's very clever that he started with Barnes because Murphy and Almiron are slower, and Harvey Barnes has got more pace. And if you've done your homework on Spurs, you want pace across the front 3. And I said that's smart from
and a better finisher.
Eddie Howe. Say again, Dietrich?
I said Harvey Barnes is a better finisher too.
Yeah,
he's a better finisher. Although Murphy has improved, but anyway, look, starting lineups. You look at that. Did you think Spurs have got a chance? Did you think maybe Ange might tweak the system, or do you think?
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll just go.
I'll just go quick because Spurs did dominate the play in the game. They did.
I'll just go quickly. Like my thoughts on Sarr. When I saw him in the starting lineup, I knew we're down to 10 men. It wasn't the game for him, in my personal opinion. He doesn't bring anything. He's not good enough on the ball. And when I saw Kulusevski was the false 9, I knew it wasn't going to work against Dan Burn.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. I knew we were going to lose.
No, I agree. I've been saying this for a while. A lot of people give Sarr so much credit. And listen, if he was doing the Olympics doing the long run, then I'd understand it, man. The guy's got legs. The guy can run and run and run and run. But when it comes to technical ability, he's dreadful. Unfortunately, in that starting lineup today, I think we have 3 players with good technical ability: Porro, Romero, and Maddison. Other than that, you find me a good technical player in that squad. Like, that's why we got beat. When you think Barnes is good technically, Isaac is good technically, Gordon's good technically, Joelinton, the Brazilian geezer that plays CDM, they're all good on the ball. So when you come against a team, it's all right us having the ball, but if you're not good on the ball, what's the point in having it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with Dietrich's point about Sar, right? I haven't been as, I don't know if you want to call this harsh, Dietrich's, but I guess for the lack of a better word, I would say that you've been a bit harsh. I wasn't, right, but I have to agree today completely, right? Other than the two shots, which fair enough weren't bad, right, from outside the box that he had, I don't think technically he provides anything, right? In a game where we have 65% of possession and we don't need you to run as much as he did, we need a technical player that can actually help us unlock a defense, right? I don't think he does much. Because I don't know if you guys have the same feeling, but in attack, even though we still sat with 8 men outside their box, I didn't see him creating options for the passing lanes. I just saw him receiving the ball and passing it to the side. And I mean, he wasn't the only one, but I just focused on him today because I thought that Maddison wasn't great, but it's not like he was horrible. Same thing with Bissouma. Kulusevski struggled a bit with the physicality of Dan Burn, but I honestly think we lacked another midfielder capable of actually doing something on the ball. That's the way I felt.
Can I just say, I listen, I don't disagree with any of that, Mikhail. Look, I don't disagree with Dietrich's. I've said for 2 years now, whenever I've seen Sarr play, I see this boy gets a lot of praise. And I put it down to us not really having many top players, that when we see somebody who runs around a lot, we misconstrue running around a lot for being a good footballer. And I liken it to, I'm seeing videos from Spurs YouTubers, right? Said Brennan Johnson changed the game. Brennan Johnson was good when he came on. And again, we're misconstruing Brennan Johnson having a lot of the football to Brennan Johnson actually delivering anything that's tangible. And this is what we keep doing in this fan base, right? We keep doing it. We don't seem to really, I feel like we've all forgotten what top footballers look like. From the days of having Modric and Carrick, not together, but Modric in midfield, Carrick in midfield, Edgar Davids, Moussa Dembele, players that when they got the ball, none of us went, oh my God, he's got the ball. What's he going to do? You all went, he's got the ball. He'll sort it out. He's calm. Now, whenever our midfielders get the ball, I feel like it's hot potato. It's like, how quick until Basuma gives it away? Yeah? How quick until Papa Sarr runs into somebody with the ball? But I don't know. We just keep lavishing praise on these footballers. And listen, James, who somebody said was my Albanian brother earlier. I'll take it. James. Listen, I completely agree with my Albanian friend. Look, at the end of the day, we've got so many players that don't have technical ability. You watch Liverpool, and again, I'm not going to say all of their players are amazing, but you watch Gravenberch on the ball. You watch Alexis McAllister on the ball. They're all so comfortable. Without being top-level midfielders, they're comfortable. Diaz, super comfortable receiving it. You know, his first touch takes him into space. Same on the other side with Salah and Diogo Jota and Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. Then you go to us. And the only thing I'm going to disagree with James about is when we're talking about technical ability, I keep hearing that Porro and Romero have got really good technical ability. But for two people with technical ability, they don't half give the ball away a lot. Like, you know what I mean? And again, I feel it's just like, it's chaos. It's not even organized chaos. It just feels like a lot of chaos everywhere on the pitch. And shout out to Mr. Box Office, who went on to We Are Tottenham TV. I watched that segment you sent me, Stel. And Mr. Box Office called it. And it's something that many of us have been calling for. Where's that one guy in midfield who, in a hectic game like today, gets it and says, right, calm down. Everyone calm down. Everyone get back into their positions. Calm down. Let's control
I'm going to control it.
Right. Instead, we just go forward at 100 miles per hour, which fans mistake for attacking football, and then teams counter us. Eat, sleep, repeat. I'm not even angry. This is who we are. It's what we do.
Well, it is attacking football, Sav. It's just crap attacking football.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's kicking the ball forward, isn't it?
I think that player you're talking about, I think we're all hoping it, and it's not happening. It's Maddison, isn't it? You want him to have time on the ball and craft out the killer pass. Or,
but in fairness, I said this on Savage show. Everyone's blaming Maddison for a lot of this. And yet, I didn't see any of our front three make one run forward when Maddison had the ball. Not one. And he had the ball quite a lot today. And every time he got it, he turned, looked up, nothing, went backwards. Turned, looked up, easy ball. And this is where people say, Son could be a striker. If Son made one run in behind, he would have drew men and it would have left space for the wide men. But when he got it, they all just stood still. Every single player in that front three just stands still, expecting them to get the ball to feet. I personally don't understand it. I really don't get what's
James,
going on.
I'd love to see a player cam.
So just quick response to that. It's been a problem for a little while now, hasn't it? We either get one or the other. There's been plenty of games where you see player makes the run and the ball doesn't arrive, or they get the opposite, where the player's got a bit of time on the ball, looks up, and nobody's made the run. We're just not putting things together up front. It's really
and
frustrating.
Maddison is just too boxed in up there, basically.
Yeah.
Said it enough times. A few of us have said it. As soon as he's got the ball, he's got his centre mids behind him. He's got the inverted coming. He's really not got much option to do it.
Dan, do you remember player cam?
Also, even if Maddison dropped. Oh, sorry, Sam. Sorry.
So I was just going to say, Dan, to your point, I'd love player cam where it's just on Maddison. I'd love it on his forehead so that you can see the number of times he gets it, does a Cruyff turn, looks up, and you can see him go, I'll pass it 5 yards. I'm not saying he's perfect before Maz has a go at me. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's the only one for me that actually wants to get on the ball, put his foot on it, and try. I just don't see anyone else capable of doing it or trying to do it, Dan.
The problem is with
I agree with you,
Sava. He's no Ericsson. I mean, me and Datrix had this chat earlier, yeah? Now, the thing is, with Maddison, sometimes he can just take too long on it. Sometimes he just wants to make a pass look pretty. Yeah, and you think, just pass it. Just pass it. But sometimes he just has to make it look too pretty. But he's basically our only capable playmaker out there. And it's like you said, Kuva, they're either not moving or he's not passing. It's one or the other. You're not getting it.
We're very static, aren't we? And we become static, certainly. As soon as we encounter stiff opposition, it's like the players freeze under the stress. And it's like, what do we do now type thing. What's been going through my head a lot today is this style of play that we're seeing has been effectively consistent all the way through Angie's tenure at Spurs. And one thing that we're not is unpredictable, which I think is quite a big problem because teams instantly know exactly how to set up against us and exactly where the players will be roughly on the pitch at given phases of play. And that obviously then causes our star players like Maddison to then easily get marked and pressured and hassled and, everything else under the sun. Same with Son, same with Cooley, same with everyone, right? Because we don't actually change things up when we attack. Every goal is very similar. Every cross that we do is always very similar to what we've done before, i.e. Porro crossing, rather than crossing, let's say, near the penalty box, or wide and near the byline, near the corner flag. We're always crossing 10, 15 yards away from the penalty area into the box to players that can't head the ball. And because people like Richarlison and, so far Solanke aren't playing because they're injured all the time and Son can't really head the ball. So we're just so predictable. And I think that's just stifling our players because every team knows how to counteract us. And we haven't got enough quality for them to think on their feet and do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, if I can just say one thing, because I know we'll focus mostly on like the shortcomings of our team from today, but I want to highlight two things that I think I liked today, and I like them more than from what I saw against Leicester, right? And first thing for me was that period from like start of the second half until like the 70th minute, where I felt like our press was really good. Whenever the ball was turned over, we really put it on Newcastle and really boxed them in. I know that the issue then is that when we get the ball, we don't know what to do with it, right? But the sheer fact of just, taking the ball off them, I really like the press. And even like two good chances came from them. It's just one of them was wasted by Odobert, and the other one by Odobert too, I think. Like especially when Son pressed Bern, and the ball ended up at Odobert's feet, he completely scapped the chance. Right. This is one thing I liked from today, and the second thing I liked was that we actually attempted shooting from distance, which was always one of my biggest gripes, because we say that we are, cutback FC or tap-in FC, right? I know those shots didn't land in the end, right? But I still like the fact that we attempted to do something else other than just, go to the end line and just try to cut it in, right? That's the things that I liked, and I want to highlight those because, like some people in the comments will just go at our thoughts.
You're right.
I agree. I agree with that.
Negatives, right?
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's
the two things I was picking from the game was the pressing. First of all, I thought we did that really well for a really big majority of the game. I agree. Good to see him having a shot from distance as well. Nothing wrong with that when you're up against a stubborn defense. It's all meaningless if you don't actually do anything with it, isn't it? So we can take the good points out of that, but at the end of the day, people. I mean, there's been these big conversations in chat. We all know about it. People saying we desperately need a number 6. We need a left-sided centre back. I've consistently said, as far as I'm concerned, what this team needs more than anything else is quality forwards. And my God, did it show today? Because we have nothing. If there's even with that, you do get the likes of Brennan Johnson get down the wing with pace. Even if he puts a relatively good ball across, there's nobody there to meet it. Nobody within miles of it. So it's not really a good ball, is it? That's just him putting in a hopeful ball. Can I
jump on that, Kuva? Can I jump on that?
Yeah.
Right? Because
can you send the link to Jacko? That's a big Twitter account.
No. He can contact me and come on and debate. I don't want him on this kind of a show because just manifest into hell.
Yeah,
but he can come on and we can debate one-on-one, but he can do that. I want to bring this up right now. So you can see Brennan Johnson crossing the ball into the box. Someone puts it on social media. They've circled Son and the arrow. Why isn't Son where the arrow is? Okay, so there's two schools of thought here. And I just want to let's discuss it, seeing it's been brought up. Why hasn't Son made the run? Or you can see Son hasn't made the run. So why are you crossing it? Either take a shot or drag back and square it backwards. Ryan Mason, someone's caught him shouting it, and it was on socials after the game. Ryan Mason was giving instructions, cross the ball even if no one's there. Right. For me, coach's hat on, if you can't find a pass to a player in the same shirt, or you can't get a shot away, you don't just whack the ball into empty glass. So, Son, why haven't you made that run? What's the point of being the striker if you're not going to anticipate the run? You can see the player's gone wide. What do you think he's going to do? Make your run. But at the same time, he hasn't made the run. So why are you smashing it into empty space and just giving possession back to Newcastle? What's your thinking on this, guys? Because
honestly, that was my first thought. That was my first thought. The second thing that you said, right? Why is he just whacking it into the box? It's as if he didn't pick his head up and see that no one's there. Like, why just whack it? There is
Michael,
no point whacking it, right? I agree that Son should have made the run, but if he didn't, then just try to cut it back. Just don't whack it for the sake of it.
As much as I hate Beetlejuice, he's following orders, and that's from Ryan Mason. He's doing his job. I know I don't agree with it, but that's what it's a shit job.
It sounds like to me they're hoping for a deflection by the opposition to get an own goal.
Yeah, like what we did against Liverpool that time, like where he basically called them over. He told Porro go wide, told Kulusevski go more inside, and Porro just banged it over, and lo and behold, we got an own goal out of it. Yeah, I get that if you're doing that in the last 5 minutes, or whatever, and you're 1-0 down and you're desperate to get a goal. As long as it's sandwiched in there. Go on.
Question for you then. An intelligent winger like Mohamed Salah, Foden, are they going to listen to that instruction, or are they going to use their game intelligence?
I would have thought they use their game intelligence.
No,
the only thing I'm saying I can get with this is if you're in the last minute or two and just hitting and hoping for a deflection or whatever, I could get it. But when you're in the middle of a game or you still got 15 minutes, 20 minutes left, why go and get rid of the ball like that? I mean, there's enough times up the pitch he holds on to it when he has got a pass and he just passes it backwards, for God's sake. You're just like, why just kick it into nothing?
To Macau's point just now, if you actually, I've watched the game back. I'm a glutton for punishment. Before I came in, I watched the game back with my uncle because I went downstairs and I was like, "Did you see Romero?" I was like, "We gotta look at Romero's defending." No, and when we watch it, Brennan Johnson does actually a couple of seconds before he delivers the cross, looks up. So he's looked up. He's seen that no one's in there, and has still put it in there. A top quality footballer with belief in their own ability, comfortable on the ball, would do a Cruyff Turnal, stop the ball, take it into the corner, wait for someone to come, play a 1-2. He just whacks it into space. And listen, Son was never going to get there. Johnson was so far ahead of play. If you actually go back and watch that move again, not you, Mikhail, so I mean everyone, like if you watch it again, he was so far ahead of play. Son was never going to get there. He puts a crossover, and then again, we go, as fans, we go, "Oh, great cross." That's not a good cross. It's not a good cross if you're put, it's a really poor cross. But the problem is, I hate using quality players against people like Johnson. But I'm going to talk about someone called David Ginola, right? I'm going to talk about people like Gareth Bale. If these people get the ball in that situation, they are so technically comfortable on the ball that they don't need to hit a ball first time. They'll hold on to it. They'll slow the game down. They'll have a little trick to get past their man. Johnson is so average. He's so one-minded that all he knows how to do is run quick and try and cross. That's all he knows how to do. And that's why that didn't surprise me at all. I'm not saying somebody couldn't have got in there quicker, but he was so far ahead of play. Hold it up. Bring others into the game. But him and Odegaard, by the way, was just as guilty on the other side. He couldn't pick a man out for love nor money either. So, look,
it's terrible.
It's somebody you don't want to bring up on a Spurs channel, really. But something Arsene Wenger said a long time ago. He just prepares the team when they go out on the pitch. He expects them to know what to do. They don't have to have instructions barked at them. You know, it seems like our players, you almost have to like push them along with a broom.
Kuva, that's good coaching.
Almost like play FIFA with them, innit?
Kuva, the best coaches, right? They only get off their seat if it's going wrong and it's an emergency, like your players are drowning, right? Let me bark instructions to get control. Top managers just observe. Like you rarely see how often do you see Pep Guardiola shouting,
but
do this, pass there, make that run?
Conte was shouting, and he's a top manager.
Yeah, because we were constantly in crisis on the pitch.
Yeah.
No, but even at Chelsea, he was screaming every time, and they had a top team.
That's just Conte. That's just him.
But for me, the best managers, right? It doesn't mean every manager, but the best managers normally, the work is done on the training pitch, and when the players come game time, they know what to do because it's been drilled into them and they get it.
But this is where I'm going to say my bit on Son again. The wingers could do whatever they want outside. People tell me Son's a striker. Mate, I've seen more movement in a dead fish. The geezer's static. He's so static. I haven't seen one good 6-yard run. I haven't seen one run towards ball, away from ball. If we're talking about moving him into our fox in the box or our number 10 or number 9, you've got to have movement in the ball. If you watch that whole clip, he stands there and he stands there and he stands there and you're like, what are you waiting for, a bus? Like, it doesn't make sense for me. I personally think that Son's done. He's so done. He hasn't got the movement. He hasn't got the brain IQ of, right, he's going to put it back here, or I should make this run here because it's going to help this team. He's finishing second to none. Still, 1-on-1, that's the one person in the world I want there. But footballing brain, I don't think he's got one.
I just want to get into the first 20, 30 minutes of the game so we can actually start talking about the game. And then we can talk about Son a bit more as well. By the way, we've got 500 people watching. Please smash a like, subscribe. Make sure you follow Hotspur Hood, Football Heritage TV, Mr. Box Office TV, and anyone else who I might have missed out. The first 20 minutes, okay, it said Newcastle had been the better side so far. I'm putting this off of the Sky Sports commentary. They had 5 shots to our 0, but none on target. 5 touches in our box. We had none in theirs, but we had more possession. So this is an example of having more possession, but doing nothing with it. And this was kind of the whole, well, some of us argued, what's the point of possession if there's no end product? And this is exactly what happened. But then on the 37th minute, they got some joy. Harvey Barnes scoring from a cross into the box from a wide angle. First time finish from the Newcastle attack into the far corner. Now, when we look at this, let's dissect it. The ball's out wide, and you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the box. Newcastle have got 2. Nobody's marking either Newcastle player, right?
5.
So 5 if you you're right. One at the top. 5 in the box against 2 of their players. We've completely outnumbered them. Nobody's marking anyone. The ball then comes in, and it goes to the player at the back of Harvey Barnes, who here's on the edge of the box, makes his run in. No one tracks the runner, and it's a first-time finish. All right, do we all agree that this is just basic schoolboy man-marking failure? Nothing to do with tactics, counter-attacks, set pieces. It's just shit defending.
Who were the 2 players that were not marking? The 2 in the middle? Who was it?
In the middle is
Bissouma.
Isn't that Bissouma and Udogie?
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Bissouma and Udogie,
Yeah, it is. It's Bissouma and Udogie.
So where's the
Ask
centre
the obvious
backs?
question. Yes, Dietrich. Where's the bloody centre backs?
Yeah, where are they?
I
So
think
Romero-
Dragostin was near Murphy, right? Or Kelly, or whoever was making the assist.
Right, and
Yeah,
where's
they both went
that
across.
fraud Romero? Where's
went
that?
across.
Romero from here looks like he's standing outside the box.
He is jogging backwards, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's him outside the box. And Dragusin is the one making
That's
the
when we
success.
charged forward, wasn't it?
Right, guys.
Should it matter if you got 5 players in there?
I was about
They
to
should
say,
split
if
them
we've
up.
got 5 in there,
Yeah, I get that, but let's take this. But you wanted to talk about basics of defending still. The
Yeah,
basics
let's
of
do it.
defending is Newcastle have a throw in deep in our half, right? From that, they score. Why on earth is Romero in central midfield? And why on earth, when he comes back, is he jogging? These are basics. You wanted to talk about basics. I'm not saying the players in the middle shouldn't be coping with that, but isn't that why you buy players like Romero? So that they deal with the crosses that are coming to the box. Why is he in midfield jogging back?
all right, devil's advocate, is it a case of the way we play? And I'll be honest, I'm just being honest with everyone now. There's times in the game when we've got possession, I don't know why players are in certain positions. And it's almost as if they all just play where they want at times. And you think this is just chaos, but okay, handball. But then when the attack, when it transitions into an attack on us, I think players who we expect to be in their position are out of position because they're caught out of position because of the way we attack and everyone's in forward
but
position.
still,
You wouldn't expect Saliba and Gabriel to be so high up on an attack, would you?
Still, if you watch that, if I know you can't show it on here, but if you watch that sequence play all the way through, so that throw-in actually came from, the ball came all the way over from the right-hand side to the left of the pitch.
Yeah.
It went out for a throw. If you watch that sequence, right, Romero, again, is still in midfield. He's nowhere near the defence. That concerns me when he's our defensive leader. He is part of the leadership team, right? And he's the defensive one of the leaders. The moment that ball goes out for a throw, I want my best centre-back on the pitch. I'm not saying he was today, but I want my best centre-back on the pitch to be busting a gut to get back, to be getting in position. And the jogging just sums it up for me, because if you actually look with where that goal comes from, can you put that screenshot back on of the goal? Yeah. Of when he crosses the ball. If you look there, look who scores the goal. Where's Harvey Barnes right now? Edge of the box. Romero's jogging. Now imagine Romero has a little sprint. Right? Look where Harvey Barnes ends up. Look where Romero still ends up. Have a look. Go to the next one again. Look, Romero hasn't moved. In the space of Harvey Barnes running 12 yards, Romero has not even made an effort to get back and block to be a centre half. It's absolutely crazy.
Sava, I hear you saying. I hear you saying, but at the same time, if I'm Romero, I can see that there's 4 players in the box. 2 of them are near where Harvey Barnes is. Look, you're fair to Romero.
So you don't track back.
No, 1 minute. I'm not defending Romero. Just hear me out. Your criticism's fair. I'm not questioning it, but at the same time, half of the blame has to go. Why the players that are in the box? Why are you in the box if you're not going to defend them?
I agree. Exactly. I'm not doubting. I'm not doubting that side. I'm not taking the blame away from them. But as I said, I said to you guys earlier,
blame here. I think there's a collective blame.
Sure, there is. But again, my worry and the reason why I highlight Romero is if fans want to put him on this pedestal, right? If you put a player on a pedestal, I'm going to judge them on that pedestal. And this guy is put on such a high pedestal by our fans for being world class. Cool. If you're world class, if you're one of the leaders, everyone says give him the captaincy. There's that situation. And then when we get to the goal a bit later on still, when you watch it back, it is criminal. He starts on the halfway line. And by the time Tonali has run past him, and by the time Isak has got in the box and scored, Romero hasn't even jogged back into our penalty area to try and defend. So what do we do? My point is...
He should have been doing that.
Here's a question for you.
I get both sides. I wanted to ask, because I think you basically took the words out of my mouth still, what I wanted to say. In like, do you think it's actually down to the fact that, and I'm not making nothing right for him, he should be getting back in that box for everything he's got. But do you think he actually sort of underrated the situation as such, thinking there's already 4 or 5 people in there? I'm not going to have to make it back for this as much. Do you think he saw it like that? I'm not making nothing right. Too right, he should be back in that box.
Top defenders don't do that.
I know that, but I'm just trying to work it out as such. Like,
Dan, top defenders want to defend, right? Top defenders will have that ego of, I've got to be the guy to get back.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Basuma shouldn't have cleared it. I'm not saying Adogi shouldn't. But Romero and Dragusin are the 2 centre halves, right? When balls are coming into our box, that is a huge concern to me that our centre backs are either out wide right back and one's in midfield. That is, and this goes back to Stell's point. The basics of defending. This wasn't a counter-attack. This is the basics of defending. Why is our back 4 not in a row? Right? Think back to, if I go back, some people are old enough.
Terrible, and we haven't got a clue how to do it.
No, I know, but that's my point. You're old enough. I know Maz will be, some of you guys are probably a bit too young for it. Not you, Kuva. I know you're old enough. If you remember the Lee Dixon, Adams, Keown or Bold and Winterburn, anytime a ball came in that box, them 4 they were a rock. Anytime Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Rose, Walker, the back 4 was in a line. I'm looking at that today and going, who is coaching Tottenham defensively? Yeah. Because it is horrible.
And another thing with that back 4, Sarah, is that they all held themselves to account. Like they used to go, if one of them messed up, that they would tell each other off, if it was a mistake. And I don't see that from our players.
Can I just say something? Because you make a very good point there, yeah? And it was back on someone that said, well, I'm not going to mention his name because he just completely annoyed me getting on his show. All right, is that he's Romero acts like a defensive midfielder. I think he's actually trying to be this defensive midfielder, which, to be honest with you, at this moment in time, you shouldn't be a defensive midfielder. You should be more a central defender, trying to be like a Van Dijk, marshalling that defense at the moment. You see what I'm saying? And it's either him doing it himself, or the manager's telling him to do it because he doesn't trust Basuma. Because that midfield, you could see that midfield with Basuma, Sarr, and Maddison is still not good enough. Because you know that Basuma is not a defensive midfielder, isn't it? And
Alex, if that was Liverpool, let me ask you a question. If that was Liverpool, where would Virgil van Dijk be?
He'll be back. He'll be the last man in defence. Defending. That's it.
What is Romero doing in midfield?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's baffling. It's baffling.
We're trying to play sort of devil's advocate because I agree with you. The only thing I can think of, the reason why he's out of position in the first place, is because he's trying to cover for Basuma and Sarr because they're so crap. He's pushing forward to try and start the play off, and then he's out of position in the first place. Whereas the likes of Van Dijk and stuff don't need to do that. They've got the midfielders in.
But James, this came from a throw. This came from a throw-in. So when you're saying he's covering for Basuma and whatever because they're so crap, he should never be.
I mean, trying to push forward to make things happen because they physically can't. So I believe that he's trying to take on the role of, let's see, these guys have got nothing. Let me try and.
But then a devil's advocate to your devil's advocate is the reason why Bissouma and Sarr were in the box was because Romero was outside of it, right? So they were running
true.
Right? That's the way I see it. And by the way, it's like, they should have dealt with it, right? No one was marking Barnes, so it was a piece of shit defending, right? But
sorry, there's also the point with Romero is we're getting what we bought. This is what he did when he was like defender of the year in Italy. He steps out regularly to proactively try and win the ball in midfield areas. He's still doing that. The trouble is, we're either not compensating for it by, his defensive partners or whoever he's in close contact with saying, I've got you covered, go for it. Or he's not being coached to say, stay back there. I don't want you doing that. We're seeing neither at the moment. So put it together. It's not a problem. It really isn't. To Virgil van Dijk.
That's why he played the back three, Kuba. That's why you're so good, Kuba, because you just said it. You just said it all there.
Isn't it?
But they're a centre back. They're centre backs.
That's why he played in his back three in his last team.
No, but
thank you.
No, but Alex, he won a World Cup playing in the back four. So
that's what I was about to say. He doesn't do that for Argentina.
Sure. But my biggest thing, James, it's not that he did that.
They have a DN.
If you are out of position, people are going to get caught out of position. But the thing is, he's been caught out of. I'm not blaming him for both goals, by the way. I need to caveat that right now. But for both goals, we've seen the same trait, James. And that is the jogging back, right? That tells me he's either lost belief in this manager, he's not fighting for the team, or he does not want to be here. Because he's meant to be one of the leaders, right?
No, he's tired.
When you finish this stream, guys, go and watch the second goal over and over and over again and watch it from all the different angles. You watch Udogie busts a gut to get back, right? You watch Basuma busts a gut to get back from midfield. Right? All of these players are busting a gut. And you're watching the defensive leader just jogging. And you're like, what are you doing? It's Isak on goal. Why is our centre back?
Do you know what
can I just say something like...
I just want to say something. Like, do you know what alarms me about this, right? It's two things. One, Udogie at Udinese was really good. He comes to Spurs. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know what Udogie does at the moment. I don't know what he does. Romero for Argentina is brilliant. For Atalanta, he was Italian Defender of the Year. He comes to Spurs. What's going on? And the second thing is, right? And the second thing is tactics. But the second thing is, go back to when Mourinho was manager. Go back to when Conte was manager. Go back to when Nuno was manager. When we lost games like this, how many times did we say, different managers now, different squads, how many times did we say, why isn't he running back? You're lazy. Either it's Dyer, Davies, or whoever in defence. We always, is there like a pandemic in the club where work ethic doesn't exist when it matters or something? Because only Pochettino's team was prepared to bust a gut.
There's no repercussions there still.
No,
I've said it enough times before. The club itself is too nice. In the training grounds, everything. I think Harry Kane said it perfect. When it went tits up in the game and that, when they came back to the ground or the training room and whatever, the Bayern Munich players knew the shit was going to hit the fan. Whereas he said when he was at Spurs, he could lose 2, 3, draw another one, and it still felt quite lack of pressure.
I'm not justifying. Sorry, I'm not justifying Romero, but I'm just talking as like a person that played center back. Is it normal that he makes more sprints than our forwards? Is it normal? At a certain point, as a defender, you're gonna get sick and tired. No, I'm not justifying his work ethic, but you're gonna get sick and tired of making those runs. Do you know how much pressure it puts on your body every time, just sprinting? Of course, he's gonna be lazy at some point of the game. It happens.
But not in the 2 occasions when you concede a goal. No.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No, sorry, Dietrich. This can't be it can't be that, our top defender, who everyone calls world class, is allowed to get away with it because of course you'll get bored of making runs. The guy's on 150 grand a week playing centre back for Tottenham Hotspur. He should be busting a gut to get back and defend. Everyone should.
There's no 150 grand he should be doing it.
No, but I'm blaming the tactics.
£1 a week, Dan.
No, man, I'm blaming the tactics that every time you have to put him in this position. If it was like not every game and we're not doing this highline and he's not going back and running for his life, of course I'm gonna blame him. But it's every game the same thing.
In fairness to Sava, if you see Man City when they get caught on the counter, you see so many people sprinting back. They might not get there, but they do put a shift in to get back. It's true. Maybe it comes from the coach. Maybe it's the coach. If you don't get back, you get dropped. You don't play.
I think he's given up in the manager, to be honest, because how many times do you sprint back and be left 4-on-2 before you eventually say,
that's my point.
You eventually say, I've had enough, man. Fuck this.
Yeah, exactly.
I said that. Do you think he just looks like he's already looking to the end of the season already? I said that.
I think you guys are going too far with it.
We just
maybe he doesn't want to get injured.
No, Michael, why not? Let Michael speak. Go on, Michael, why?
Sorry. My point is that I kind of back what Dietrich said. And listen, this doesn't apply to the first goal, right? Because first goal, first half, you shouldn't be knackered, right? If you are a professional athlete and, playing for a football club, right? But the second half, the second goal, I don't know. I just feel like they are so physically strained, those centre backs. Again, not how should I put it? I think partially it's the issue of the tactics, why it looks like this. That's the way I see it. Because we are so high, because we are so open, the guy makes so many sprints that at a certain point, he's going to be knackered and not be able to come back in time, right? And by the way, with the second goal, because people are ripping him to shits for the second goal too, right? Notice how he tried to pull up to move the offside line up. And it was Dragusin sprinting back already before the pass was made, right? So I think at certain points, I kind of want to excuse him in a sense, right?
Not for me.
Do you mean with the tactics like a VDV? I think it might have well been with you, Mike, that I actually spoke to about it on there. It might well have been that we said that VDV with these tactics, for 100% fact his hamstring is going to get cooked at some stage or another this season because the amount of time
and it's the same thing with
he has to not run but has to go into a sprint mode back, which does his hamstrings. I think it was you and Stel that I spoke to this about and a couple of others.
Yeah, my problem with what Romero's doing, and then in turn what Andrew's doing, is Romero's feeling the need to press into attacking positions and make something happen, which, and I think Romero's body language is quite obvious that he thinks he can do a better job than some of our attackers can in the attacking third. So he and I know that he's done this when he first came to Spurs as well, where he was bombing forward and trying to make things happen. But where's Ange on the sideline shouting at Romero in the back line to stay disciplined, to keep their shape? And if we are going to play at the halfway line, we're the two defenders in that position. So if we do get caught with one ball over the top, they're all running back.
Max, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm just chucking a theory out there before everyone shouts at me. For me, I think what we've seen today is probably not very different to what Romero normally does. He just didn't have the guy that's been bailing him out for the last year next to him.
Possibly, yeah.
And this is why when anyone has the conversation with me about Romero being class, I always say, for me, Van der Ven holds this team together, right?
Yeah.
Van der Ven is the one that covers all the mistakes from Porro, not just Romero, to be fair, from Porro, out of position, whether it's the manager or not.
Doji,
no, I was going to say the back
everything.
four. So, so anytime Porro's out of position on the right and there's gaps in behind, same on the left with Udogie, right? Same with Romero bombing forward. Van der Ven covers all of that up. So what you've seen today is when Van der Ven's not there, first of all, I mean, I think I saw Stel say this on We Are Tottenham TV. It's absolutely criminal that if you know you've not got Van der Ven, you should not be standing on the halfway line, like whoever said, trying to play an offside trap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you're going to try and play an offside trap on the halfway line against Harvey Barnes, Murphy, Gordon, Isak, you are asking for trouble. And the fact that you're doing it without Mickey Van der Ven, I think we've just seen there that I think Romero has shown up today. I think he got shown up today.
When you brought the picture up of the second goal, and I said to everybody, bring the picture back on. I said, bring the picture back on.
I'm going to bring it up when we get into the second half. We're still on the 37th minute.
It's that football intelligence, isn't it? And the thing is as well, I mean, Jordan in the chat raised a good point. He says that players should have the license to use the initiative, right, to do things. I agree. Players should have the license to use the initiative, but not at the behest of taking a high risk situation and making it even worse, whereby one ball splits the whole defense open and we concede goals. In that scenario, as you said, Sava, Van der Ven's not there, so he should be thinking, oh wait, I can't bomb forward now because my fast mate isn't with me to mop things up. So they got.
But did you see Dragusin tracking back, Maz? Dragusin, who's not the quickest, right, in terms of turning pace.
He made some big tackles today.
He was the one driving back, and I'm just thinking to myself, if I'm Dragusin, who's sitting on a bench each week, and my defensive leader Romero's doing that next to me, I'd want to turn around and go, "Oi, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get back in here!" But he excused everyone. He was crap against Leicester City, and everyone made excuses. Right? He scores a header against Everton, and everyone talks about him being brilliant. And then today, I thought he was shocking again. But
wait,
I don't know.
Maybe devil's advocate. Maybe devil's advocate. Oh, sorry. No.
What is your decision? What is your decision then for next game then? Sorry, Duchess, but I think that the question needs to be asked then. What is your decision in the next game in the derby? Right? Do you play the Goose in, and if Van der Ven's fit, play the Goose in and Van der Ven, or Romero over Van der Ven? Do you drop Romero then?
No, you don't. No.
On the back of what you just said,
Romero has to play.
You just said, I'm thinking right now, drop Romero.
No, that's not.
Can I just remind everyone? 3 of Newcastle's first team defenders were out today. We lose one, and we're losing it.
We lose Van der Ven, we fall to pieces. We've said it for how long now? The second he loses Van der Ven, the whole system goes to crap, and that second goal showed it more than ever.
We can cope with that, Romero. I can't see if Van der Ven and Dragusin played a game together at centre half. I don't think there's drop off. I think if Dragusin and Romero play together because Van der Ven's out, there is a huge drop off. That for me tells you who the one is in that centre back pairing that holds it all together.
No,
and
but
it's
maybe
not Christian Romero.
But wait, maybe I have a question. No, I have an idea. It's maybe an idea. Just don't you think maybe that the coaching are saying, Dragusin, you have to mimic what Van der Ven did? There's only one defender that has to run every time, and the other one has to block the pathway.
Nobody can.
No, I'm saying, do you know like the way that Dragusin was running and tackling? Maybe one of the defenders has this job, but the other one is more of a ball playing.
I mean, that's the point. That's the point I made once, right? I think we are.
Because
I've seen like an analysis on one of the YouTube channels, right? That the coaches sometimes employ this. I think it was called like a sweeper-stopper pair. So basically, one of the guys is the sweeper, right? So in our case, Van der Ven, who makes a lot more tackles and generally is more involved, right? And the other guy is the stopper, which is basically like he also is a defender, but he has a lot more responsibilities in like close proximity, barging people, etc. Instead of making sweeping tackles, right? So, but it doesn't excuse the fact that you also have to make those same actions if you have to, right? It's not like Van der Ven is the sweeper, so I'm like devoid of any responsibility, right, defensively. That's the way I see it, right? So I agree with the fact that I think they have like different roles in that pack too, but that doesn't change the fact that he also has to be like switched on. And
Mikhail, did you watch the Man U game? Did you watch Man United at Liverpool?
Yeah.
Right. In the second half, in about the 89th minute, about 89, 90 minutes, Liverpool are 3-0 up. A Man United guy, I can't think who it was now, went down the right-hand side in acres of space. Within 5 seconds, he had Darwin Núñez, Virgil van Dijk, and Tsimikas, boom, all on him. Darwin Núñez is a centre forward. He's back, and what we're sitting here and doing, not all of us, but we're sitting here going, well, is it Romero's job? They are centre backs. I don't care what happens. The moment the ball goes near our goal, they should spring into action. That is what they are paid for. They are defenders. You know, if we're going to blame the forwards up front for not putting the ball in the net, the defenders have to be held accountable for how easily they are breached. And as much as we put that on Ange, you have to make the effort to get back. If not, you have to do what Stel said. I think in my show earlier, you have to knock on the manager's door and say, Gaffer, you're leaving us exposed. You are leaving us exposed. We can't deal with this. Can we drop 10 yards? And Ange seems to be the only person in the world of football that can't understand that this defending on the halfway line is criminal. It is criminal.
Sava, I agree with you, but this is why I don't want to blame the defenders because they're not helped. We need a number 6 that can help them. I know they have to do their job. I get it.
We've been going on about this so long, though. That's the thing at the end of the day. And like I said before,
they need help. They need help.
I think Dan's made this point how many times.
Then don't push Basuma so far up the pitch.
Exactly.
But this is why I talk to the manager.
But this is why what Dan's made. Dan made the point about having 3 in defense. 3 in defense would be better at the moment for Romero to do what he's doing at the moment. But in saying that, though, on the back of what people are saying at the moment, I think you should just be dropping Romero because if he's costing us, if he's
stop it, Alex.
Alex, today though, he couldn't because
you can't blame Romero.
But I'm just saying
we can never blame anyone. We can never blame anyone. This is the difference between us and big clubs. Big clubs, if you have bad games, the manager drops you, brings in someone else. At Spurs, look at all of us. Oh, what? Romero dropped for a game? Oh, no.
Hold on.
Because nobody's better than him.
Can I
So then why bring Dragushin in? Why bring him in then, Dietrich?
I don't know, blame Manch. I don't know why we bought him.
Hold on a minute, guys. Drop Romero, fine. But if Van de Ven's injured, we don't have a full centre-back. Because
whose fault's that, though? Whose fault's that?
Yeah, but you're the one. Hold on. You're the one saying drop Romero.
Because at the moment, you can't keep on doing the same thing, can you? And like I said before, right, if he's costing us goals, but still, let the main event finish, yeah? The point is, yeah, right, if you're letting in goals, right, I still respect you, Stelios. You know, I still respect you.
I'm laughing with you. Don't worry, I'm laughing with you. So.
But the point is, yeah, if he's still making mistakes and he's not listening to the manager or doing the things that you're mentioning at the moment, drop him. You've got Davis. If you believe in Davis, right? If you believe in Davis, he's part of the squad.
No. Hold on.
Let me land.
No, now you're done. No, you're done.
No, let me land. Let me land. Okay, right. The point is,
there's no landing.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference because he's still in the squad. Yeah, if he wasn't good enough, don't get Todibo in. That's gone to West Ham, right? And bring him in the squad then. You know what I mean? But he's obviously good enough. He's obviously good enough because they left him in the squad. So I'm not having it. I am not having it.
Alex, not Davis.
Okay, now you're done. Alex, now you're done.
I think you're all missing his point. I think you're all missing Alex's point.
I'm getting his point. I'm just mucking about.
Alex's point is if you've got if as a club we were told we didn't need a centre back, bearing in mind, please, bear in mind, your manager, I'm putting him on you lot. I'm not taking responsibility for this PE teacher of a manager now.
Me neither. I hate him.
Your manager came out, what was it, Friday, and said, and I want to get the exact wording right, was we didn't bring in another defender because A, we don't want to block the pathway of Vuskovic, who's a 17-year-old out on loan.
And Phillips.
Right? Yeah, and Phillips, who's also out on loan. And B, the right player wasn't available. So this manager, and I think this is maybe to Alex's point, he might tell me I'm wrong. This manager, not us, not Alex, not me, not you lot, this manager has basically said we can't do better in this market than Ben Davies. If Ben Davies is in the squad, if Dragoshin's in the squad, why, I'm not saying Davies, but why should Dragoshin, who was our big signing that we beat Bayern Munich to get him, and yet the moment anyone goes, well, what about for one game, Romero comes out and Dragoshin goes in, oh my God, no. It's not like Romero's been defending.
I think it's the fact that it's Arsenal, Sava.
I'm not talking about
Arsenal.
If
you're going to say that for this game. In this game, if someone would have said that and he'd have had the game like that before, I could have said, you know what, fair play, this should have happened anyway. But I think the main thing that I can speak for myself here anyway, that makes me straight away say no for that, is the fact that it is Arsenal next. Simple as that.
I didn't mean that game, Dan. I just meant in general.
What I'm saying for the
we
next
can never
game,
rotate. We can never rotate.
I'm agreeing with you.
No, we can. We can.
More time all day long. It's just where it's Arsenal next. I think that's what straight away.
I was talking about
makes
Arsenal
a few
where
people say no chance because it's
against Arsenal. I don't want to see Dragoshin start.
Could we just run back just a second, please? Sav, can you say again what Postecoglou said about Vuskovic?
Yeah, didn't you know this?
No, I hadn't heard that one.
Oh, right. So Ange basically said the reason we didn't bring in another defender, Vinicius Junior scored, I think. That we didn't bring in another defender because we don't want to block the pathway for Vuskovic and Phillips.
And
that the right player isn't available out there, and he doesn't just want to bring anyone.
With that statement.
There's plenty wrong with it.
We can't defend. We concede an average of 2 goals a game, but there's no defenders in the world.
They don't want to bring in. They don't want to block the pathways for the players. But on the other hand, if the player was available, then they would have blocked the pathway for the players. How could they both be right?
It's a contradiction, Kuba. The whole thing's a contradiction. That's what Ange does.
It's bizarre. He's doing this more and more.
You know what I think
he's a mouthpiece. He's a mouthpiece for the club, and he's coming. He's unraveling. He's unraveling every week because
I could solve all of Ange's problems, all of them, and that's just play your players in their best position. For me, Romero is a right-sided centre back of a 3. Van der Ven is the left-sided of the 3. And Dragoshin's the centre. You've already got it. You've got your left wing back. You've got your right wing back. Just play your players in their natural position, and I guarantee you'll get 15-20% more out of all of them. If Romero does lose the ball, he doesn't track back, that's fine, because you've got 2 on the other side to come over and cover.
I've been saying that for 9 months.
Wait, done. Right now, we can't play back 3 because we have 3 fucking centre backs at the club.
We're talking about the next game. He should be back for the next game, though, Stan. He failed the fitness test.
But if you switch the club to play a back 3 and you have 3 centre backs at the club, if one of them gets injured, you have to revert back to a back 4 anyways, right?
So what you would do is you'd weaken your squad just in case of an injury. You wouldn't play your best 11. I would always play my best 11 and go to win every game. Whatever happens, happens. You can't go, well, I don't want to play my best 11 because if they get injured, how many times did Conte, Pochettino say, you know what, I'm not going to play Harry Kane this game just in case he gets injured?
You don't switch formations like that. It's not FIFA. You have to
but they've had all pre-season. This guy joined early. Why couldn't they work on that?
Okay. If we wanted to go to back 3 since the last season, we should have brought in more centre backs because right now our spot is not suitable to play a back 3. Even if you wanted to change that now. We have a starting 11 for a back 3 system.
Yeah.
But as soon as one of them gets injured, you have to revert back to a back 4. Because we have 2 centre backs then. Do you get me?
I get what you're saying.
The back 3 system is better for the players that we have.
I get what you're saying.
We haven't even started Europe. You would have to rotate players.
But you wouldn't need to.
After Conte, I wanted Glasner or Amorim.
No.
That was
Michael. You wouldn't need to do that. You wouldn't need to do that if you kept your central defenders and not let them go on loan out.
Yes,
exactly.
But what you're saying,
exactly.
What you're saying,
right?
What you're saying is, well, why did we play Harry Kane for all those seasons when we never had a backup then? Because we couldn't. If he got injured, we would have had nothing. So what you're saying is, if we had three defenders and one of them get no, because Richarlison was injured the whole time, we could have played someone out of position in Son up front. So what we're saying is that all them years when we could never get a striker because no one was as good as Harry Kane. Now we have to abide by those rules because just in case we get an injury. For me personally, I play my best players in their best positions. Porro is a right wing back, Doggy's a left wing back, and you've got three perfect centre backs. For me,
I've been
build on that.
I've been saying this for months, but you've got to look on this from a different side. If you was to get me right now to pick my best team, everybody on here should know it. I'm not going to go through it, yeah? I totally agree with what Sava said earlier. The only difference I might have is two AMCs and one striker or whatever. But the situation we're in now is, even though for me, and I think everyone agrees, playing the Conte style is the way that would suit this on a 3-4-1-2, 3-4-2, 1-5-2-2-1, whatever you want to bloody call it. If we then go into that now and we get that injury in defence, we're then shagged with having Davis there. Or no, sorry, we're covered with Archie Gray as well.
No,
and that's what he's trying to say. I totally get
because
what you're
then
saying,
you revert back because then you revert back to a back four. If you've got injuries, then you adapt.
James, that's exactly what he said. That's what.
So why would you not play a back three then? So why would you not play a back three? You said because we wouldn't have enough players if we got injured. Well, no, my starting formation would be a back three, and then when they get injured, if they got injured, I would then go to a back four.
Okay, James, but let's say today Ange decides.
Can we all agree that this system doesn't work with the players we've got?
Agree.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
No, it works. It works. It works.
With the players we've got.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I know you are.
If we drop the backline 10 feet or 10 yards or whatever, right? I think he could afford, especially today when we didn't have Van der Ven to cover our ass.
He did actually
drop it. But Michael, Ange has proven his reluctance to adapt. We knew we had
I
know. I'm saying
Michael, this is what we need to stop, right? This is what we need to stop. His tactics don't work because we're losing games, and our form in 2024 suggests that we're relegation fodder.
Yeah, and I'm pointing what I would change to fix that, right? I'm
no,
not
but
saying
you said no. Your statement says it would work if, right? But
it would work better.
But I mean, then it would be a different tactic. Then it would be a different tactic if you change.
In other words, let one inverted wing back go forward and cover the three at the back.
I don't even think that would fix.
And we would be. No,
you know what? I don't think.
But it stop. Say it stopped 6 goals in doing that. Yeah, that's already 6 less goals. There is a couple of little moves he can make, which are quite simple, really, that could make it better. I'm not saying make it work, but it'd make it better. But we all know his whole system's
top managers have more than one way of playing. I don't care what anyone says.
We know that.
Whenever I hear this argument, whenever I hear this argument, not saying anyone here has said it, but we've heard it so many times from our fans that just keep doing this because it shows that we've got one way of playing and everyone needs to buy into it, no matter if you win, lose, or draw. For me, top managers. There is no way they would sit and watch the last 33 games that Spurs have played. And I don't know if any of you saw the stats I put out earlier today on my YouTube page of our last 33 games and 32 games with 13 wins. There you go, 13 wins, 13 defeats, 6 draw, 45 points from 96, 10 points from 36 away points, right? It's that would mean if that was over 19 away games, we would have 15 to 16 away points. There's no way a top manager sits and watches this type of form, doesn't ever go back to the training ground and think, I need to tweak something. There's no way. There's no way Alex Ferguson would have let this happen.
Mate? It's in reverse. If it had started off the other way round, us with piss poor results, and it got better towards the end of the season, we'd be going, wow, I see where this is going.
Exactly. But again, the stats are just damning Kuva. Whichever way we look at them, the 9 months of stats for this manager, if this was Nuno, if Nuno had this, right? If Jose had this, our fans would be losing their Chelsea reject, Wolves reject.
Can I say Nuno did have these stats? Nuno did have those stats after 10 games.
Yeah, but obviously 10 games. But you get my point still, that if this was Jose Mourinho, people would be losing their mind at these results.
I think what's alarming about these stats is that we've spent £350 million to get to this. The money we've spent. But look, I want to move it on because we're still in the first half. So it got to half time. Right.
Can we talk about Odegaard?
We're going to get into Odegaard.
That one comes to it, I think.
Total shots, we actually had more, and we had one more on target, more passes, but clear-cut chances, we created nothing, right? And there you go, possession 64%, more touches in the box. So from where it was after 20 minutes, we did turn the game around, but it's those chances we didn't create. And Sky Sports said we were controlling the game and we were actually dominating the ball and pressure. Fair enough. Okay, second half starts. Spurs had the possession where Newcastle pinned in. The commentators were saying, brilliant start by Spurs. You can smell a goal is coming. And to be fair, the goal was coming. You could feel it. I think, did we hit the post? I think we hit the post. Porro was
crossbar.
Hit the post. The goalie, Porro hit the crossbar.
Deflection, by the way.
Yeah, it was a cross, wasn't it?
Yes,
we got to find a
We'll take it.
It was wasn't it the same thing than Isaac?
Negative, God, you're negative, man. You're negative.
That was a little bit of a dig. I got a bit hands up. That was negative.
I'm only joking.
But look, we hit the crossbar. The goalie made a good save. Then this happened, and I want to talk about this because I got pelters for it, but I'm not going to back down. Big chance for Odegaard. Johnson has looked sharp since coming on. Crosses the ball. Deflection. The ball hangs up in the air. Back post. Odegaard misses. Now, sorry for the lack of quality on the screenshot because I did it off my TV. If you look at the height of the ball, why in God's name is a £30 million player who plays in a forward line trying to kick it when all he's got to do is header it? It's at the perfect height. Header it, 1-0. He tries to kick it, and he puts it wide. The goalie is scuffering to get across because that's how the goal is empty. Guys, this was a massive miss.
Still,
you don't even need to head it.
Can I just say something quickly?
Let the ball come down and control it and it go in.
Can I just say something quickly? Because I think this goes back to what I've said since this guy came in, yeah? He's raw.
He's not raw. Stop saying that. He's not.
And exactly why I said you need an established player ahead of him, so the spotlight is not on him. Yeah. And the thing is, though, he's going to be judged because you're putting him in this position already. Yeah.
Well, look. No, Alex, I disagree with you.
Alex, I disagree.
One at a time.
I'll tell you why I disagree. Right? I think your points are correct, but I disagree with the premise you're coming from. Ange put the pressure on him.
Yeah, I agree. That's the thing I'm saying.
Ange put the pressure on
him. Yeah. But I'm saying we should have never. Ange is to blame as well for saying that he's right for this at the moment. So he's made the wrong judgment on it, right? Yeah. Okay. So like I said, like he could lose confidence because of that.
Yeah.
But it either can make him or break him, and that's on the manager, as far as I'm concerned.
Correct.
Like I said, you put somebody who's experienced in that position, right? He can take the criticism. He can take it when he's missing chances. You know what I mean? If he's not good enough, you don't buy him in, and that's it. So the thing is, though, we are being harsh because you should have not put him in that position in the first place. In the fan base, that unfortunately for me, I'm done. I'm not patient anymore. I need to see it now because the thing is, though, you're talking to Romero. Romero's off at the end of the season because he ain't going to be patient. You know what I mean? So you're putting so much pressure on a young player.
Do you think he'll jog to his next club, Alex?
Oh yeah, maybe Sava. Yeah, definitely. That's a good one.
But you know what though? This is not fair, right? Because now we're being too nice to Odegaard, and I'll tell you why. When Mourinho brought on Troy Parrott in that cup game we lost, and he missed that penalty and we went out, Mourinho turned around and said, "I told you," and you lot were screaming for me to play him. When Timo Werner and Brendan Johnson missed these kinds of chances last year, we slaughtered them for it. Absolutely slaughtered them. Now Odegaard, who so many fans said, look at his stats at Burnley, look at his dribbling stats. He's a top winger. You can
compare him to Nico Williams.
30 million pounds. I'm not even going to bring that up. I'm not bringing that up. I'm not even going to bring that up.
In Kudu Mark II, mark my words.
In Kudu. Listen, I'm not judging Odegaard. I'm not judging him. I'm going to give him a season because he is young. But I'm going to call that out because you can't play in a forward three and have... It's not just that miss. No crosses, no assists, no big chances created, no crosses to a player in the same shirt. He has shown me in 2 games so far 0 end product. And that miss for £30 million, I can't accept that.
Can I just talk about... No, wait.
I blame Ange for doing it.
No, I don't blame...
Let Dietrich.
I don't blame him. I don't blame Ange because I hate when people say, "Oh, he's young, he's raw." I don't like that. Look at Lamine Yamal. He's 16 years old, proven quality. Dude, no, wait. I'm not saying they're the same players. Age doesn't matter. Either you have the quality or you don't. Or the bear clearly.
But Ange brought him in. How come we don't blame Ange? Ange brought him in.
No, I blame Ange, but I blame him too. He's not good enough. Let's stop saying let's give him 10 games. You've seen after 3 games.
We don't know if he's good enough.
No, we know it's not going to come good. Clearly, he has no end product.
We don't know. We don't know that. Look, we don't know that. The disappointing thing again, though, is that we've brought in another player that we are told to wait and see. Rather than actually going to spend another 130, 40 million, whatever we spent this window on players that we know can drop in and do a job, we've brought more players where we're told, give him 15 to 20 games. Archie Gray, another one, 40 million. Didn't even get on the pitch today.
I want to add to that. I said today on a stream that Gray and Dominic Solanke cost exactly the same amount of money as Eze and Osimhen. Osimhen had a 60 million thing they were prepared to sell him, and Eze had a buyout clause for 50 million. So you could have swapped Gray and Dominic Solanke for Osimhen and Eze. But Daniel Levy doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to win. And then the fans just buy into it. They're like, yeah, now that he's going to be the next best thing. I'm sick of signing gonna-be's that never fucking happen. Just go out and buy what we need.
You can
play. It's like going, don't worry, it's like going out, I fancy like an egg sandwich for breakfast. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a fucking chicken. It's fucking madness. Just go out and buy the egg.
No, but you can buy a youngster, but just go buy the right one. Instead of I can name you. No. I can name you better players. Let's say, I'm just gonna go over the top. Nico Williams, 42 million release clause. Are you telling me we can all afford him, and he's the same age as Odegaard?
The only problem with using that as your narrative is Nico Williams was very, very vocal this summer that he will only be joining a Champions League team if he moves. So that one was never going to happen. But
if you pay the wages, he's going to join.
No, Dietrich, when the player comes out and says, I am only joining Champions League teams, that doesn't mean, but I'll make an exception for Tottenham Hotspur. Does it?
But that's not what he's saying. He's basically saying, if you're ready, you're ready. If you're 16 or 18, that's I think all he's trying to say.
No, I agree. I agree with his point. It's just Nico Williams isn't the right one to make because Nico Williams was wanted by Barcelona, and let's be fair,
he's not coming. We know that.
Yeah,
it's just.
But there are much better players.
We didn't even need to go. We didn't even need to go to players like that. Why don't we go for players like Matoma? Like, I'm sorry, you can't tell me you can't get someone like that. You can't tell me that.
From Brentford.
Mbeumo from Brentford is perfect.
I just want to say this though. I think the problem is at the moment because I am blaming the forwards for us losing this match as well. I am blaming the forwards. Yes, the defense was bad, and I'm sorry, the midfield as well.
Zero clear-cut chances backs you up, Alex.
Well, I'm blaming the forwards because this is the same problem we had last year at Newcastle as well. Because yes, we played okay, but playing okay doesn't mean anything. It's like going to a bar. You want to chat up a lady, you got nothing for it. You know what I mean? Because you're not doing anything. You're just procrastinating, and that's it. And that's
I'll ask my wife if I'm allowed to. Alex.
We're procrastinating. That's what we do when we're up front. And
you got to get drunk, mate. You got to put in a bit more effort.
No. We don't want to encourage that. We don't want to encourage that on that show. I understand where you're coming from. Now we've got to
buy the drinks.
We've got to be sensible here. You know what I mean? I don't want to.
If you don't manage to pick up, you've got to go home and procrastinate.
Alex, the point you made, right? If you look at all the forwards that played today, right? 3 of those 4 forwards, and if we chuck Kulusevski in, 4 of the 5 forwards that played in this game today, Ange has signed in the last 3 windows.
Yep, I know. I knew where you were going with this.
This is the worrying thing, right? Now, I saw a post. I'm not going to name any names. I saw a post after this that said, when Ange gets his players and his personnel through the door, we'll be lethal. I'm thinking, I think he spent, is it £379 million or £370 million so far? He's brought in 16 players, only 4 of which make the first 11. And in that time, he's brought in Timo Werner. I'm counting him twice. Like Timo. He's brought in Valise, Solomon, Brennan Johnson, Odegaard, and Kulu and Solanke. Right, let that sink in.
And Valise,
absolute bowlers,
and Valise, all of those players have come in, and then people go, "It's not Ange's fault.
And the Asian kid.
Our forwards aren't clinical." Well, I've got an idea. Instead of buying all 8 of those players, why not go and buy 2 that are bloody clinical? Why not say, do you know what? We're not going to pay 30 million for. We're not going to pay 30 for Odegaard and 50 for Brennan Johnson. We're going to go and offer Brighton £60 million for Matoma. Why not go and show a little bit of ambition?
Sava, I think the problem is that for all of the Deadwood that we've got rid of, nothing's really changed. So if you think about everyone who's actually left from last year, or since Ange has changed, we're not actually playing any better than what we were when he first came. In fact,
it's good that the Deadwood is gone, right? It's good that the Deadwood is gone. But you should have brought better players.
Michael, most of the Deadwood that went, if we're going to call them Deadwood, first of all, I always have to caveat with this. Most of this Deadwood was the Deadwood that people like me and Stel were told 3 years ago on our YouTube channels, that be patient, you guys are negative, they're all going to come good. 3 years later, they're all the reason why we're not doing well, they're Deadwood. Most of the Deadwood that we've got rid of, so to speak, weren't even at the club last year. Nearly all the Deadwood that's left was... Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The point is, Michael, they weren't even at the club last year, so they weren't actually affecting the 11 or the squad. Other than Højbjerg, right? Other than Højbjerg, Brian Hill played a few minutes. And Skip, who made any real apperances from the players that have left this football club?
I'm not disagreeing. I've never disagreed. I agree, but I'm just asking. Anyways,
look. So Sessegnon hardly played any football. I don't think he played a minute of football last season.
17 minutes in FA Cup against Burnley. He got injured again, by the way.
Ndombele wasn't here. Joe Rodon wasn't here. Troy Parrott wasn't here. Japhet Tanganga wasn't here. Right, Lo Celso, I think, started 4 games. I think I read somewhere 4 games Lo Celso started. Skip started something like 4 games across the season. So all of this Deadwood that weren't actually affecting the 11 and the squad. So the 11 and the squad effectively hasn't been upgraded and hasn't changed from last year. And when I watched the show with you guys yesterday, not you, Michael, but when I watched the show with a few of you yesterday, and I saw like Ian was adamant. Well, if you look at, we've strengthened, we've now got Gray, Bergvall and Odegaard on the bench. And you're like, sorry, that's strengthening, is it? Letting go, by the way, I don't rate him, but letting go Højbjerg, who's an international footballer and captain of Denmark, we're bringing in Archie Gray, and that's strengthening. It doesn't make sense.
Does anyone rate this bench? Does anyone?
It's crap.
But no, this is what I was going to say. I actually think we've actually weakened our squad because I think, regardless of what everyone thinks of Lo Celso, for me, Lo Celso is head and shoulders above Sarr. Personally,
he's injury prone, isn't he, James?
But if we're talking about player quality and making the squad better, I think Brian Hill is head and shoulders above Timo Werner. To be honest, I think Joe Rodon is head and shoulders above Ben Davis. You know what I mean? So,
head and shoulders is a bit of a...
I think
I think James will make you right though, Bob. I actually agree with you, bro.
In this position, you're saying we've made our squad stronger and got rid of Deadwood when we've got players that have stayed that are worse than the players that are left. So what does Deadwood mean?
James, why do you think I said, and Ellie's going to absolutely love me for this because I've told her this, I've said this already, right? I'd rather have Hoyer back in my team. And even the Celso, I was criticising most of the season because he wanted to go leave, yeah? But even Stelios can vouch me for it, right? He said that he played well whenever he was playing, when the Celso was playing last season. When he was in some of the games, he turned up in some of the games. You know what I mean? So you're absolutely.
I'm not sure if it was.
You're absolutely spot on. You're absolutely spot on. You know what I mean? Because
I'm not sure if it was Conte. Weren't he like our best player under Conte or Mourinho? It was one of them where he played a run of games, like 10 games towards the end of the season. He was one of our better players. But that's neither here or there. The point was, people were saying we got rid of our Deadwood when really there's an argument to say Højbjerg is better than Gray, better than Basuma.
There's not an argument. He is. He's better than Gray.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So
let me ask you, Bergvall, right? For example, people are raving about Bergvall, and again, he's another one. Looks promising. I mean, I don't know. I mean, imagine how many times as a Spurs Vancouver you said, looks promising. Let's see what happens with this kid, right? He looks promising, but again, so promising that we gave him 8 minutes today, right? So promising that in the first 3 games, we've had 3 different midfield combinations, and then not one of those games were Gray and Bergvall, our 2 midfield signings, trusted to start a game.
I'm going to say that
I
haven't seen anything. I mean, aside from the friendlies that we played, I haven't seen anything from Bergvall that would suggest that he's really promising. Now, look,
I agree.
I'm not saying this to. I think he is promising. My gut feeling is telling me he's promising just based off the friendlies, but objectively he hasn't shown anything since he's come on. Now I know it's only 8 minutes here and 10 minutes there and all that sort of stuff, but it just goes to show that, you know, we're putting so much pressure on these youngsters coming in that they're going to be the saviour of Angeball and Tottenham, and Angie's to blame for this. This is not what he should be doing as a manager. Putting these young players in to a team that's struggling.
I had a question for you.
Sorry, quickly. There's real questions about what's going on, isn't there? Because if we're going with this youth project, put them in. Lower the expectations. Just say, okay, if we finish mid-table for a season, so be it. Get their experience in. But we bought them in with great cost at the expense of buying some quality players in that we know could improve the team.
Yeah.
And then we're not playing them. So what's going on there?
And another question.
Stella and I wanted this when Ange first came.
I actually like the signings of Archie Gray and Bergvall. I think in the future, I think they're both going to be very good for us.
But don't you guys think?
But at the same time, we've got Timo Werner back-to-back loan signings. What the hell's that about?
Did we need both, Kuva? Like, after having signed Bergvall for 10 million euros or whatever it was in January, was the priority another 18-year-old midfielder in the same calendar year?
No, of course not.
That's what I don't get. That's what I don't get about it.
You know what I'd say to you there, Maz, about you haven't seen anything from Bergvall. The only thing that I could say is when you compare him to the likes of Sarr and Basuma, at least he plays with his head up. He's looking at the game. Today, he took the ball, took a turn, played the ball forward, and I thought, all right, nothing had come from it. But it's the fact that he's got the ball, turned, head up, played the ball forward, and then he run forward with play. I don't think I've ever seen Sarr or Basuma kind of do that. They're okay on the ball, but they don't turn and go.
And that's my question.
That's not their game, though, is it?
No, I agree.
Bergvall to Basuma when Basuma's a marauding box-to-box player who's played as a DM for us. Bergvall's more of your, I think, because we don't get to see him play, Bergvall, I think, is more of your silky, get on the ball, take a touch, have a look. But even when he came on today and against Leicester, Bergvall, I'm not knocking him, but he keeps giving the ball away a lot. And all you hear is, but we're buying players that suit Ange's system. One, what is Ange's system? And two, why do Gray and Bergvall suit it? But when you bring up players like Locatelli, Manu Kone, Fofana, I'm told that these players don't suit it. I just don't get any of it, guys. I don't understand any of it.
Guys, sorry, one second. Guys in the chat, I'm going to give you all a warning. If you say another nasty thing about the size of Ange or his looks or appearance, right? Listen, jokes are jokes, but some of you are taking the absolute mick. If it carries on, I'm going to just put you in a timeout. If you do it again, I'm blocking you. That's your warning. Guys, carry on. Sorry.
But didn't Bergvall show more than Pape Sarr the whole preseason? Why does Sarr start? He showed nothing.
But yeah, but then again, this is where we have to think critically. Bergvall and Sarr wouldn't be in the team in the same position. They're very different midfielders. I don't rate Pape Sarr, but Pape Sarr's game, I believe, is about his engine, breaking up play, and getting stuck in. Bergvall's game is not. So if anything, the two would complement. I'm not saying they should start together, but the two should complement each other. So when we're saying that he showed more, I don't think Bergvall really showed anything in pre-season. If we're going to be brutally honest, I think Bergvall, Mikey Moore, all these kids looked brilliant for 45 minutes against really bad teams in pre-season. I know that sounds harsh.
No, I agree with you, Dad. But when Sarr's put the level here, when Sarr's put the level here and Bergvall's come here, you've seen something.
Has he come there?
I've seen more from Bergvall than because I've never seen Sarr make a correct pass forward. Show me the last pass that he made forward that was actually like to
James,
an actual player.
How many minutes has Bergvall played this season?
I don't know.
20 minutes.
I reckon all in all, when you add it up, I reckon it's probably about 20, 25 minutes. In that 25 minutes, how can we possibly say he's come in there, the other players here? I'm not knocking him, but I've seen nothing from Bergvall or Gray when they've entered that pitch that makes me go, oh, yes. They come on and you're like, okay, cool. Coming on when you're 4-0 up against Everton as well. It's a very easy game when you're 4-0 up. The other team aren't good enough to get the ball and he can just sit there and stroke it about. I want to see Bergvall play in games like today, like when Tonali comes on and they've got Tonali, Guimaraes and Yo Linton in midfield. I want to see Bergvall play against those three bullies. That's what I want to see. Let's see how good he is. But we're basing all these young players again. All summer, everyone has been wetting their pants about young players, as though no other club in the country is playing their young players in pre-season. And you get to the first 3 games of the season, Mikey Moore is nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen. Even with that shit bench today, Mikey Moore, this generational talent, apparently can't get a minute off. Can't get on the bench.
Even after Divine's got 0 minutes.
Right, Divine got on the bench today purely because we had 3 first-team injuries. Right, I agree with Kuva. If you want a youth project, not saying against Arsenal, but if you want a youth project, in the very next game after Arsenal, Brentford at home or Brentford away, whatever one it is, I don't know. Fine. Put Bergvall and Gray in central midfield, Odegaard one wing, Brennan Johnson the other, and then go on then. There's your youth team. Let's go and play. But he doesn't, like Kuva said.
My name with it and then advocate Brennan Johnson.
But Kuva, do you see what I mean? We can't.
Sure.
We can't say the manager wanted all these youth players and then they're nowhere to be seen. Archie Gray was £40 million. The guy couldn't get on the pitch today.
But he backed it. By the way, he did back it. By the way, because you heard, right? Just before the transfer window closed, they said they're very impressed with Bergvall and Archie Gray, and that's why I did my video saying this is a big mistake. Because if they back the two from training, right? Okay, so you're saying that they're part of the squad then?
Yeah,
okay, so they're good enough. They're good enough to do it. So yeah, and Michael's just said it. He said, "Well, just show us them, because at the end of the day, you're believing in them. So yeah, put them in hard positions in when pressure situations in, because that you're saying that they're ready for that sort of thing. But by what we've seen right now, they're not ready. They're not ready.
Apparently,
Bergvall looks more comfortable than Gray. From what I have seen, not a lot of him, but he looks more comfortable than Gray.
But Dan, he's not confident enough to put them in from the start, right? Because at the end of the day, I'll go back what I said before. I don't do backups anymore, right? They ain't backups. They're part of the first team. There's someone.
I know what you mean. I'm just saying Bergvall looks more confident. Than Gray.
I get what you're saying, Dan. But you know how I am very harsh. You know, I think highly of you, yeah. But the point is, I'm straight to the point. I'm black and white, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, if you're part of a squad, you're good enough to compete. Right at the moment, it looks like they can't compete. They're still in their apprenticeship.
Alex,
as far as I'm concerned,
Gray ain't
I can't do
Gray ain't going to
apprenticeships
get
anymore.
time on there because of Benson Core, Basuma, bloody
Saar,
and
Madison,
everyone else,
Kulusevski.
Saar, Madison, and everyone else.
Yeah.
I totally know that. As all I was saying is, out of them two, Birdwell looks better than Gray at the minute. That's all I'm saying.
Sorry, guys, 1 second. James has to go. James, you got to shoot.
Yeah, I've got to shoot, boys. Yeah. Big up. Thanks for having me all on, boys. Good chat.
Bye, my Albanian brother.
My Albanian brother.
Take care, mate. James, look after yourself. Let's bring in a Newcastle fan, Steve. How you doing, Steve? You all right, mate? You must be happy.
He's on mute.
What's going on, people? What's going on? All is well in the land of Tottenham. Yeah?
As always.
What it sounds like.
Guys, I just let me move it on quickly, just because I do want to get through this game. We did get the equaliser, 55th minute, Burn own goal. It was shocking goalkeeping. Let's have it right. He's messed it up, allowed us in, and then Burn smashes it into the roof of the net. Johnson gets the assist though, because he bundled it across the goal. It was actually going wide, but look, who cares? It's a goal. And then what I felt happened was this. You felt like Spurs were going to go on and get the second now, and Newcastle were crumbling. And then Eddie Howe brought on this man, Tonali.
Yeah, good
and
player.
I thought he began to read the game, break up the play, read our passes, and the momentum slightly shifted, and then bang.
He's not
How
better
many
than Archie
times
Gray.
have we seen this happen? High line, Dragusin keeps him on the side, and then that through ball.
Look where Romero
down
is.
the wing. Yeah, we'll get into it all. Don't worry, we'll get into
Sorry, I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, look,
You're just enthusiastic.
Sava, again, though, look. 3 defenders in the box against 2. We've outnumbered them again, and we still don't know how to
Yeah, no. Hold on. I know.
No, that's
there were
not true
3.
on that one.
Yeah.
That's not true on that one, Stel.
The fact that 3 people were in the box doesn't mean we outnumbered them. They were way past our defensive line, both of them, right?
And the player coming into the box on the 18-yard box had sprinted. That's Porro. He had sprinted to get. He was further back than Romero and sprinted to get back.
Okay, fair enough. Hold on. We got a 2-on-2 then, which we failed to pick up the runner that the ball was passed to for the goal. Isak was given the goal. Ange Postecoglou couldn't believe it. Dominated the second half, but Newcastle, that's all it took. That one chance, and Isak scores the winner. I think this is the angle that best allows us to analyze it, because there's so much here.
This is one frame.
The high line. Kuva, I'll let you speak straight after. The high line, we're not man marking. The body position of our back 4, the number 6 not marking the play in front of him or reading where the pass is going to go, and how that pass from there splits right in between the defense. There's so much with this that resembles all the failures of last season. This was this. I think. Do you think it's fair? Steve, let me go. No, Steve, let me go to Kuva. Then I'll come to you. Kuva, do you think it's fair? What really, really pissed us off as Spurs fans wasn't so much that they scored the winner. It's the way they did it. It's the way they scored it.
Right. 2 points to this. Yes, this does show the weaknesses of playing a high line, without doubt. If you don't get it right, you get picked apart. But what you don't see in this is the build up to that. Why they suddenly had that chance to launch that attack. And it's when Maddison went flying forward to try and win the ball against Joe Linton, and he overcommitted himself, got easily turned, which left Joe Linton with free reign to just pick his pass, and he picked out a killer ball.
I can't disagree more.
Well, let Cooper finish. Cooper, finish what you're saying. And then go on.
If Maddison had stayed on his feet and he didn't go on super aggressively trying to win the ball, and he just held the player up, that counter-attack didn't happen. It would have been forced to either play sideways or backwards. Instead, Maddison took himself out of the game and allowed Joe Linton to run forward with the ball unchallenged.
Wasn't that a turnover, right? If I remember correctly, they got the turn of the ball, right? That's why this counter-attack happened, right? That's this how I remember the situation, right?
Hang on,
It was either Madison or someone else losing the ball.
But sure, but Spurs,
steps, right?
Spurs losing the ball in the attacking third of Newcastle.
No. It was in the midfield. It was in the midfield.
Okay, well, you can see from that picture that it wasn't actually in the midfield. You can see. Look where, if you bring that picture back up still, right? Look where Madison is. Right, look where Madison is. So it's in the final third of the pitch. It's not in the midfield, right? If you look here, there's no way a player losing the ball that high up the pitch should allow one pass to take out our entire midfield and defence. I'm sorry. I'm not absolving Maddison of that. Maddison should have done better. But the fact that one pass from that deep in his own half takes out our entire defence shows you how badly we are set up. That is, you can't, no top team allows that. No top team allows that. After Maddison loses a ball, there should be two midfielders behind him that are there as a shield, and then you should have a back four that are 10 yards deeper so that pass can't happen. No one plays their back four on the halfway line like that. That is criminal. Terrible. Anyone could lose that ball, and they're going to spring an attack. It's madness.
Sorry, this is why Ange will never win a big league. It never will.
Of course it will never win. It's suicide.
No, but even if he's got the best team in the planet, it still concede too many bloody goals the way he plays.
Dan, how can you have one pass? How can you have one pass from when we had the ball in attacking midfield that splits open and takes out our entire back four and our two midfielders?
Especially from where it is as well. And the way he put it through instead of even putting it over the top was even worse.
All I ask for Christmas is a number 6.
I think any team playing a high line, if you're going to give the other team time on the ball and put no pressure on it, you're in trouble.
But who plays a high line that high, Coover? I've not seen it. I don't even see
high line.
Who?
Brighton play a pretty high line.
Yeah,
not anymore.
I've never seen it like this.
They did.
This is an extreme version. Granted, it's really risky.
But
so when it does go wrong, it looks horrendous. I agree.
Can I say something though? You see this high line. Do you know what worries me about it? Not one of our defenders is marking their attackers.
Exactly.
Right. So I put it down to man marking. We're not switched on to danger as defenders. We're just not switched on to the danger.
Can you put the picture once again?
Which one?
Who is Udogi? Another picture. Who is Udogi and Poro marking exactly?
Udogi is marking. Well, that's what I mean. Then no one's marking because there's no man marking.
Yeah, and it's like I said earlier. The main thing that is missing from this, which I think we go back to the start with what Sava said about Romero and everything else. We all know there's a number 6 missing now, but you look at that picture right in the middle of where Romero actually is. That's usually Van de Ven there. That ball goes over. You can say there's an 80% chance we can get that covered because he comes back so fast and has to do it at 10 times a game. And that blatantly showed why Van de Ven is so important to these tactics because they're so terrible. And without Van de Ven there, we weren't able to cover that ground.
But do you know what?
For me.
But then, do you know what bothers me with that pass? How come just that pass broke the midfield and the defense? Broke 2 phases. If it broke if it only broke the defense, I would be okay. You know what? It's fine. But it broke the midfield and the centre back.
Before this game, when everyone was doing their predictions, okay, so many fans who predicted we'd lose or draw, they said that the high line with Gordon, Isak, Barnes, and these kinds of players, they will exploit it. So many fans said that, and it didn't happen. And then in the dying stages, pow! Exactly that happened. And that's
you predicted a draw. You fraud.
Yeah,
can I confirm something?
I predicted a draw because I felt attacking wise we had enough about us to score, but I felt that exactly what I just explained, Newcastle getting behind. But then when Van de Ven was missing, I said, go on Twitter before kickoff. I said, I fear a loss now because we didn't have that guy to come back.
Still, can I confirm something? So I'm seeing a few comments in the chat that I just want to clarify. They're not having a go, but I just want to clarify something. I'm not saying that no team in world football ever gets a pass like that against them. I'm not saying ever. What I'm saying is this is a gamely occurrence for Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not saying that there aren't teams that have that sort of a pass. Man City get done like that every now and then. But this is every fucking game for Tottenham Hotspur.
Nearly every game, without fail, nearly every game.
As soon as you see them parked on the halfway line,
Leicester got into us.
I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god, one ball and we're done."
Everton nearly done it.
And the thing is, we talk about it before every single match. We talked about it earlier still. We said, didn't we? The problem they've got Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy, Gordon and Isak. They've got pace. If you leave them space, they will exploit it. But not all our fans, sorry, I get in trouble for saying that. Most of our fans still defend this style of defending, even though against Arsenal, we are going to concede a goal identical to this, and people will still go, yeah, but the defender there and the fullback here, and this tactic does not work. It has not worked for 9 months. It's still not working in pre-season. It's not worked at the beginning of this season. We need to stop pretending that this is about personnel and realise that this is a suicidal weekly tactic that no other manager plays. And still, you called me yesterday during the Man City game, or we were voice notes during the Man City game. And I said, one of the things I said to you, I said, you watch. When Rico Lewis goes, you watch Rico Lewis is up there joining in with the attack.
Yeah, the wing back tucks across.
Right. And every time Vardial makes it a back three. Stones, Akanji, sorry.
That's what
Diaz, Akanji, Vardial. Spurs just go.
I just want to understand, Kuva, you know the point you made. Could you explain it again? Because I want to understand what you were thinking. Because I heard half of it. I didn't catch it.
Which point about Maddison overcommitting?
The high line, about the high line that we play.
Well, what risk reward? Other teams do the high line, but they're very proficient at closing the ball down. You don't get that constant free reign to pick out a pass from anywhere on the pitch, set your forwards going. We do push forward a hell of a lot. It's an incredibly risky game we play.
Do you think that those teams? Kuva,
I don't believe Ange can do it at this club. I'd love to see him try it at somewhere like Man City.
At this club either.
Where you've got brilliant forwards. It could be incredibly exciting.
Can I ask you, you know those other clubs that play a high line, like City, Brighton do it, Arsenal do it sometimes as well.
Southampton.
AC Milan with Fonseca right now are costing them 3 games with the high line as well.
Steve, just keep it on Premier League for now, just for this, just for the purpose of this example.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed with those clubs, though, they've got an actual out and out number 6. Do you think that is actually the difference to it for us? The fact we don't have that Wanyama, Declan Rice, Partey, Rodri, that top draw player that
Dembele,
just makes it work. Dembele,
You need a number 6.
Yeah, it would help. In my opinion, it would help. I mean, I even hate inverted wing backs, but it's what we do, isn't it?
So, I can't stand them.
So I think it is personnel problem in a way, because I'd expect Basuma to be doing the job at the moment, but he's not really there, is he?
But that's not his position.
But it's not his position.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. I would like to see how it works with a number 6, but they've got to be an aggressive number 6. I suppose you could make the argument that's what Romero is currently doing.
Someone just said in the chat.
Sorry, go on, DJ.
Someone saying in the chat, imagine if we had Onana on this team. Do you know how many times he would break those passes with his slide tackles?
I agree.
Any decent. Steve, listen.
Yo.
Newcastle fan. What did you see today? And I know you're always honest.
Sorry, I've got one last very quick point to make to it as well.
Go on, Kuva.
The high line being the problem, always being the problem. That's the first time we conceded this season from the high line directly being the part of the cause. The rest of it's been bad defending.
Is it fair to say, though, this is the first team that we've played in the top 10 and the first team that actually gave it a bit of a go, whereas Everton are awful,
Sure.
They're shocking.
Sure.
And Leicester,
Leicester got him behind a number of times. Leicester got him behind a number of times.
Vardy had that one-on-one. He did have that one-on-one that keeper saved. My worry is only against the top 10.
Well.
I'm not worried about the bottom 10. I think we beat them all comfortably, or at least we get the victory. The top 10 are the ones that worry me, because now we're up against savvy managers and a better quality of player. That's I think our Achilles heel, the top 10. And what's the stat? We've won one game against the top 10 since December 2023. That is
Guys,
fucked.
by the way,
So bad.
I have a question. Right?
Yeah.
Because I started when we all joined. I said that.
I want Steve
Mr.
to have his say though as well.
Yeah, I promise I will finish quickly, right? Because I said missed opportunities come back to haunt you, right? I seriously, after watching today's game, my first thought was not about the defensive, high line and us conceding the goal. It was about all the chances that we missed. That's at least how I felt, right? Because I know this tactics never wins games where we score 5, you score 3, whatever, right? But this game especially, I don't know. I'm primarily pissed off with our offensive line, not the defensive line.
Mikhail, what chance didn't we take? We didn't create one single big chance in the game.
Nick Pope, to be fair, Nick Pope made 3 pretty good saves, I want to say.
It was only in the... So, okay, we had that Madison
we had quite a few half chances, some long range shots.
But
the only clear cut
big chances
one was
one from Odobert.
That was
and
it.
the second one where Son nicked the ball off Bern, and we were 2v1 in front of goal.
They're not actually classed as big chances, but
they're not big chances.
But as fans, we call them. As fans, we call them big chances.
Yeah, but let's look from a fan's perspective, right? I think it was a big chance, right? And I think if we converted the Odobert chance near post, right? If we converted the pressing chance that we got, there were like 2 or 3 shots where Nick Pope seriously took it from, the shot would have taken the cobweb from the place where the bar and the post joined, right? I have a feeling this game would have been much different if we actually had quality forwards and took our chances. I'm not saying that we shouldn't highlight.
But these are the players Andrew signed, though. That's the problem.
I know. I'm saying that from today's game, I was more pissed off with the offensive.
But does this scare you guys? Does this scare you?
Yes.
These are kind of players. These are kind of forwards that any of the big 6 would sign.
Ange thinks he's at Celtic.
And then look what we thought we were going to get. Look what we thought we were going to get.
Mate, it's embarrassing. It's truly embarrassing. Sorry, Steve.
Go on, Steve. Go on.
Yeah, go on, Steve. Rip us to shit.
Come on, Steve.
What was the question, Style, you asked me?
No, just talk about the game. Just talk about the game, mate.
I thought we were mostly rubbish, to be honest. I thought defensively, pretty good. I thought Nick Pope made some good saves, even though they're not like big chance. I thought he didn't. Obviously, the goal he did screw up there, but I thought he made pretty good saves overall. I thought he was fine. I thought our back line was pretty good. Again, solid defensively. Going forward, though, I have long-term concerns about this. And my whole dilemma with Eddie Howe now is, are we going back to being a counter-attacking team and not trying to get on the front foot? I'm fine with that, but the problem is that I think just the general consensus, and from what I saw of the whole game, we weren't really that threatening. I'm glad that we were clinical and that we took our chances. That's great. But my worry is that we're not even getting forward up the pitch enough to be a counter-attacking team. That's my thing. And in possession, there were a few times, go back to the high line sort of thing. There were a few occasions where we could have tried to play that ball, but Longstaff would take a touch too much, or they would just we couldn't exploit it in that moment. Eventually, we did, obviously, but I'm happy on the win, but we didn't play at our best, and I'm concerned long term about is this the route we're going down? Because we haven't played a single good match in these 4 games, and we played Southampton, Nottingham Forest in the Cup, Bournemouth away, and then you guys today. We haven't played a good 90 minutes of football, even a good 45 minutes of football. Defensively, fine. We look a lot better than last year, even though Botman and Cher suspended. So defensively, looks like we're doing better. I worry about us. Yeah. I worry about us, though, when we go to Anfield and we concede right away, and then we have to get out of our shell, which we haven't done these 4 games.
What did you think of Spurs, Steve, as a Newcastle fan?
First half, I think you started all right, and then you kind of waned. I think we had a good chance with Isak. Vikari made a save. I think it was what 20th minute or something like that, maybe around there. I just thought overall, like, yeah, the same issue. You know what it is with Spurs? I feel like the fine margins always bite you in the ass. The high risks that you take, it's those little things, they always seem to cost you. Always. And that's the manager and the players, you know, just not delivering. So I feel like you guys always pay the price for the fine margins. That's why I feel.
What about our attack? What do you think of our attacking play? And do you think it's good enough? Do you think it was unlucky?
I thought we defended Son well because we limited Son to, I don't know. Like we just doubled up on him. He doesn't have that pace anymore where he can, okay, I'm on the edge of the box on the left and I can go blitz around a guy. He doesn't have that anymore. So he was just forced to kind of, okay, I have to go back to Bill Gay. I have to go find someone else. Madison, I think, started off all right, but then as the game went on, didn't notice him too much. I was horrified in the second half.
Ma's favorite player.
That's him. Your attack, I was threatened by the way you were playing, but not the individuals that were playing, if that makes sense.
That's a great way to put it.
That's
a great way to put it. That's a great way.
The way you were playing is what was threatening. The individuals to get that goal, to get the 2 goals or whatever, I was like, oh, okay, you know, he missed because he's XY's, he's Timo, or he's Brennan.
I think he just summed it up perfectly why I said that our front line is just not that good, because Steve just summed it up perfectly there, mate.
Yeah, I can't believe we're not talking about Basuma and how poor he was. He was just walking around the pitch all day.
I think Listen, I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem. The players haven't got the arrogance and the swag, and haven't got the winning mentality to do what they're doing at the moment. Newcastle, I think Steve summed it up perfectly. I think Eddie Howe shows why he's a better coach than bloody Ange at the moment. You see what I'm saying? Because he knows he uses the players to their strengths, and that's it. And Ange doesn't do that. And that's it. He hasn't got the best out of any of the players, like I said. He doesn't see that Poro could have caused more problems for Newcastle right now, more up the pitch, because I think he would have caused more as a right winger, right? Okay, and actually use the strengths of what our players are, and that's it for me. And I think that just sums it up perfectly for me, and that's it. And people can say whatever you want about Johnson. Yes, he did well. He did well, but doing well for Tottenham, him doing well for Tottenham still didn't win the game for Tottenham. So that's just shown you what he's all about.
I think Dan needs to go quite quickly.
Yeah, mate. I need to go. I'll
Thanks, mate.
Okay,
Dan, look after yourself. Speak soon.
Cheers. Sorry, Alex. I could just see that Dan looked like he needed to.
Oh yeah,
exit stage right.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that Johnson's good. Johnson playing well wasn't good enough for Tottenham to win. You know what I mean? He wasn't effective enough for us to win the game, even though he was an impact. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, he played well. Give him a Blue Peter badge then. But what did we do? We didn't win the game. So him doing well didn't really help Tottenham achieve what we need to achieve, and that's it. So I think Steve summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And this is why I say, okay, we're giving these players a chance. This is your window, mate. Yeah.
Is it worrying?
Clubs, you cannot. You don't get a big window. Ask Carvalho for Liverpool. Where is he now, Carvalho, for Liverpool?
Brentford.
Can I ask? Isn't it worrying though, Alex, that like, when you look at listen, I agree with Steve. It'll be interesting to see what sort of a team Newcastle end up being. I also think you've got to take into account that once you get Tonali and your back 4 back, you will look a very different outfit. But isn't it worrying that in the last 3 years, Newcastle United have signed midfielders like Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali, wingers like Gordon and Barnes, and a striker like Isak. Now look at the midfielders we signed and the forwards we signed.
Joke.
So if you had our back 4, I'm not saying your back 4 is rubbish, by the way, Steve. I'm just saying it. Just if you took our back 4 with, by the way, Eddie Howe's my manager for this. If you had Eddie Howe as manager, our back 4, Tonali, Tonali,
Joelinton,
Gomes, and Joelinton, and then you add Isak, Gordon, and Son, for example.
Yeah.
Look at that. But Spurs, we can't seem to find the Tonalis. When Ange says these players aren't out there, Newcastle found Tonali and Gomes like 2 years apart.
Botman as well has been a huge impact player.
Mate, Kudus at West Ham, Pedro at Brighton. They both cost half the Pedro. Sorry, they both cost half the price of some of our wide players and strikers.
I'll tell you what, I'd actually settle for the Eddie Howe part of that equation, because look how he's transformed Joelinton. That's a spot of genius. I think, and what Eddie Howe achieved at Bournemouth was phenomenal. He never got enough credit for that, in my opinion.
Division 4 to the Prem for years.
Look how they defend as well, Kuba.
Do you remember when everyone was asking, who's Conte improved or who's Jose improved? Well, who's Ange improved?
Well, I've been making this point already. I've made this point how many times?
I think he improved Paul.
It hasn't improved anybody.
Conte got a tune out of Son and Kane.
But Dietrich's improved Porro how? Porro's a right back, and we're a team that concede a shed load of goals.
Yeah, but
how has he improved any of our full?
No, I'm just comparing Paul when he joined. Under Conte, he wasn't that good, but now under Ange,
I think Conte had him for like one game or 2 games.
I was going to say Conte had Porro for about 2 or 3 games and then left. So when we're saying he's improved him, Porro, what I'm seeing now is the Porro I saw at Sporting, but instead of being a wing back, he's now a right back. But I'm looking at all the players that were there already. Who has Ange improved? The way Kuva said there, or Maz said there, what Eddie Howe has done when Eddie Howe came in, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, being a Newcastle fan. Yeah. When Eddie Howe came in, Newcastle were rock bottom. That they were odds on with the bookies to get relegated. In 18 months with Shah, who everyone hated, right? Dan Burn, who is decent. Joe Willock, Longstaff. Almiron, Murphy, Emil Kraft, Willock, all of these players, he managed to get them from bottom to 4th in 18 months, upskilling all of them, right? So again, I ask, look at those 18 months Howe had. Now look at the first 18 months of Emery at Aston Villa when he took them from bottom 4 to Champions League in 18 months. Now I'll ask the question. In 9 months, in a year, who has Ange uplifted? Who has Ange made better?
Sava, can I turn the question to you? Sure. Would you say the players they bought maybe improved the squad? I'm not saying Eddie Howe. Let's say they bought Gordon, they bought Isaac. Like those players are going to elevate the others.
That's an excuse. That's an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse. Because the thing is, the reason why I say this is, right, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to say this very passionately at the moment. Pochettino improved players at Tottenham, right? He improved players in the first season with the young players, and then he saw the improvement in the second season as well, right? And Eddie Howe is a very good coach because he improves players. The trajectory goes up, right? I've not seen that with Ange. All I hear is that he needs to train them in the system. And I'm like, well, cool, but what about individuals? Individuals? And this is where I was struggling at the end of the day, and I don't see any improvement whatsoever. I'm actually now seeing people regressing, which is even more worse.
But Dietrich, to answer your question, for the first 6 months, when Eddie Howe took Newcastle from bottom and got them, I believe, Steve, mid-table in that first season, 12th, from bottom to 12, right?
Between relegation and 12 was like
he didn't have any new players. He turned Shah, he turned Willock, Joelinton, Almiron, all these players who were struggling for years and bottom of the table, and he got them comfortably 12.
But it's like Ange. He improved Bissouma from what he was.
No, he didn't.
Under the first 10 games, Bissouma improved. Then when the transfer window happened, not everyone elevated when they brought Trippier and other players. That's what I'm trying to say.
But Dietrich, did Ange improve? How can you improve a player if they have 10 good games and then fall off a cliff for a year? That's not improving the player. That is getting the player to have a purple patch. That's a purple patch. What Eddie Howe has done with those players at Newcastle is he turned them from bottom of the table to Champions League players over the course of 18 months.
And in those 10 games as well, I think really we played well in like 5 or 6 of those games, and 4 of them were a bit iffy, right?
Yeah,
Not everyone
yeah.
played well, so it's he
I'm
didn't
just-
improve them.
Because I'm not discrediting what Eddie Howe did. I'm just saying he got the players in the purple patch. Then when January came in, he bought Trippier, he bought Bruno Guimaraes,
But I'm not being
and
funny.
then they took it to the next level. Dan Burn.
He turned Joel Linton into a midfielder, bruv. You know
No,
what I mean?
but that's what I'm trying to say.
No, but hang on, Dietrich, that's not right. Dietrich, that's not right. Fabian Schär has been a mainstay of that Newcastle team ever since Eddie Howe came in. And before, forgive me, Steve, everyone at Newcastle and everyone in the Premier League said Fabian Schär was rubbish. Willock's been a main
on and off. Yeah.
right.
Injury.
Joe Linton, another one. Look, I'm sorry, but we can't turn around and say Ange has upskilled any of the players when that form for 33 games shows you that our form is like 9th to 10th in the table. We were never that low. Our form was never that bad. Now our form is that bad. So who has he improved?
I'll say there's a debatable case for Romero, purely because I remember before Ange turned up. Remember under Conte, we had fans week after week saying liability, get rid of him as soon as possible.
Yeah,
I'll drive him to the airport straight away.
Dyer next to him.
Yeah.
And Clement Longchamp.
And I still think he's being dug out a whole weekly by Mickey Van der Ven.
Right, guys, I'm going bed.
Guys, yeah.
Maz, have a good one. See you tomorrow.
By
By the way, very quickly, super chat. Just want to get it in. Mark Swift says, Kuva, you're sexy. There you go.
I agree.
Hey,
By the
harmless
way,
further.
just
Big up Swifty.
how do I put it? But because we are talking about like improving players, right? But also I think some of those players that are currently playing for us aren't here longer than him, right? There's a lot of them. So can you we cannot make a point that he's improved Van der Ven because he came and he's good, right?
Name them.
I mean, Van der Ven, that's for one, right? Udogi, I mean, no. Wait. I'm making a point that even if Udogi was playing good, right, you cannot make a point that he improved them because he's a new player. And there's a lot of players.
He's not even been good, has he? Let's be brutally honest. Udogi has not really been good.
That's not the point I'm making. I'm not making a point about him being good. I'm making a point that there's so many new players that it's really hard to find a player that he could improve.
I don't think there is so many new players. Again, Michael, if you actually, let's break this down and look at the facts, not what we think has happened. Ange has brought in a lot of players, hardly any of them actually play in the first 11. If you look at the team that's there now, right? His team, Vicario is his...
Goalkeeper is new, right? So you cannot make a point that he's improved him because he's new.
Sure,
right?
Vicario...
Poro has been here for half a year, right? When he came, he was here for half a year, right? Can you make a point that he improved him? Yes, right?
Based on what? Hang on. Based on what?
No. But that's my point. If a player is new, you cannot make a point that he improved them because they are new, right?
I just think nearly all the forward line last year, nearly all the forward line was already here. Son was already here. Richarlison was already here. Kulusevski was already here. Basuma was already here. Sarr was already here. Bentancur was already here. Romero was already here. Porro was already here. There's more players that were already here. And for me, I don't think he's taken any one of them where you go, and I mean, not argue or debatable, but any one player, like we said with Howe and Joe Linton, he hasn't got one player where you go, look what for example, Basuma. We can't sit here and go, wow, look what he's done with Basuma. Week in, week out, that boy is great. He hasn't done that with a single player. You could argue they've gone worse. You could argue with some of them they're worse. Son isn't as good as he was. Now, again, we can talk about age or blah, 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 right? You could argue that Kulusevski isn't as good as he was under Conte, maybe. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. I don't think he's improved anyone. I genuinely don't think he has.
There's two names I can think of where he's done something with them that I think's amazing. That's Emerson and Dyer.
But Kuva, do you see what I mean? Like on the face of it, we can't turn around and go. We're looking at it and going, this guy. We're all agreeing this guy's tactics are crap. We're all agreeing essentially that no one has really been upskilled. So I'm asking, what is Ange? What is his key strengths as a manager or a coach, other than the fact that the PR machine he's got working in the background for him is epic? Because no manager I know in the top half of the Premier League can have these stats as bad as this and still get the kudos and the credit that this guy gets from Spurs.
Some of the players, I'd argue, they're actually going backwards now. A doggy.
Yeah.
A doggy now looks like he's very athletic, but all he does is act like a bit of a thug. He puts himself about, commits foul after foul. He's not really adding to it. I'd say start of last season, I thought, wow, this bloke's got real, genuine power. He can help break down attacks. He can help maintain possession of the ball in the opponent's third. I don't see that this season. It's not working with him.
Do you know why?
I think we've ruined him going to an inverted fullback, haven't we?
Agreed.
I was just about to say that. Do you know who I think slowly regressing, and I'm seeing like really worrying signs from him, and he's a player that I didn't think this would happen to, but I think it's happening. Vicario.
Oh yeah. He looks awful.
On the ball, he's off. I don't know what happened on the ball.
But you know, the first 6 months we were like, "Fucking hell, well, have we found him?"
He won you a lot of points. Yeah.
Now he makes the odd really good shot stop, but then coming off his line, I'm getting Hugo Lloris vibes, man. It's like Hugo all over again.
He is dreadful with the ball at his feet, right? For corners and free kicks, he doesn't command the ball and flaps. And has anyone else noticed, whenever he parries a shot, he parries it into danger. And the one thing that goalkeepers are taught to do is whatever you do, parry the ball to your right or your left. You never parry it right in front of you. This guy, for me, Kuva's right. I think they're actually going backwards. And do you know what? When we say we think, again, I'm sorry to harp on about it. Look at the last 32 games. That's a huge sample size. It's not like me saying, for 5 games we've been poor. 32 games is nearly an entire season.
Who's the goalkeeper coach?
I want to bring up those stats again. I'll tell you why. Because Aussie Matt in the chat all night long has been saying this is disingenuous. He's calling us out for this and that. And do you know what I've found with like Aussie Matt, you're diehard Ange fan. I get it. That like Ange-sexuals. Mourinho had them, the Jose-sexuals. I get it. Wherever Ange goes, you go. But the thing is, every manager in the Premier League, whether you like it or not, it's a results business. You can't defend this. Even I, who, and many a time, right, I've gone on Sava's shows and I've said to Sava, I get what Ange is trying to do. I understand it. It can work, but he hasn't got the players to do it, so he needs to adapt. Even I am beginning to run out of the ability to defend it. This is not, you can't be at a top 6 club getting results like this. If we were a mid-table club, maybe you get away with it. But if we're a big 6 club and we're talking about challenging for titles, half the fan base thinks we're going to win the Europa Cup. I don't know where it's coming from. But
do you know the thing with this, Stel? The thing is with this that you haven't put on here, which I sent to you, is how that actually breaks down over a year, right? So 32 games, we're averaging 45 points from 96. 45 from 96. So we're not even averaging 50% points, right? And if that was over a 38-game season, we would end on 54 points. And that is where most clubs every year would finish on 8th or 9th in the league. And in the last 12 away games, 2 wins, 4 draws, 6 defeats. That's 10 points from 36. And if we average that over a season, that would be 15 points from 57 away points. If any other manager had these stats, I'd love to go. I haven't spoken to Kuva a lot about this. Where is this protection for this manager come from? Why is no other manager has ever had this level of protection for this bad form? Why is this guy
simple
loved?
for me? You know what I did last season? Blind faith. Just go with it. There's no evidence for any of it. At some point, you just get so fed up, you just go, hands up. I'm just going with it because that's all that's left. Tottenham, it's the place of hope because that's all we've ever got.
Kuva was predicting 7-2 wins every week. I remember.
Hey, 7-3, be real.
It's just mental. It's just absolutely mental. If we look down the road, right? If we saw Maresca with this form for Chelsea, we would be sitting and going, Chelsea are a shambles. What is going on at that club? When it's at our club, the excuse now is we can't get another manager. We can't keep hiring and firing. Well, when your form is that bad over 32 games, yes, you bloody can.
To be fair, this season they have exactly the same form as us, right? 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw.
Yeah. But their manager has had 3 games. Our manager now is into his 2nd season, and we look worse than we did last season.
Here's the worry, though, Sav. Is as you know, because we've always talked about this, we fire so many managers at this club. It's ridiculous. We can never build anything. That's
the point I wanted to
But what we're currently doing now is yet again, we're starting to have debates over who should be the manager to lead this club to being absolutely bang average and not win anything for the next 20 years.
If I can guess, right? Saba, you asked why are people so defensive about this coach, right? I have a feeling that so many of them are just afraid of changing the manager again. I feel like ever since we sacked Pochettino, there have been so many managers in this club. I'm including Stellini and Mason and all these other clowns that we had, right? Besides Mourinho and Conte and Jose. That I at least that's the way I see it. I have a feeling that people are just afraid to sack another coach, and they just want this to work out, right? And to be fair, because I think like a week or 2 ago, Stel asked during the show which one of us are Ange out or Ange out or whatever, right? And I said myself that I'm not Ange out yet, right? I'm kind of in the same camp that I'm just a bit afraid to change the manager again. I know this is maybe
fear. Yeah, do you know what, Steve? Do you know what all I want? Right? Our fans do this. They say, oh my God, you didn't want Conte with his negative football. Now you've got Ange. No. I want a manager that understands that a game of football isn't just attacking. A game of football, you need to be defensively solid. Right?
Goalkeeper, midfield, defense.
Right. All I want is a manager that understands that.
It's real.
It's true. I'm not expecting to win titles. I'm not. But what I am expecting is in 32 games of football, our form has us lower than Bournemouth. Let that sink in. Our last 32 games, we're lower than Bournemouth, we're lower than Crystal Palace, and we've spent nearly £400 million. So
yeah, Bournemouth are great, aren't they?
Well, but the point I'm making is, Kuva, I get the feeling this manager's PR is so good, we could finish 9th or 10th, and our fans would still find a way to say, oh, it's a process, it's a project. What he took over, people will say we finished 8th. We did, but they've got to remember that we, in any normal season, how we were going, we wouldn't have finished 8th, but we had the whole thing of Stellini, Mason, Conte. We had 3 managers in about 3 months. It was a shambles. So he's picked up a team, right? And now the form he's showing is no better than what Ryan Mason showed. But everyone loves him.
On top of that, right, I want to answer this from Leonard Tuz, who says, it'd be interesting to look at Klopp and Arteta's stats after the same amount of games, right? Here's the thing. Arteta won an FA Cup in his first 6 months, beating Manchester City and Chelsea in the semis and the final, which we can't do under Ange. And secondly, the thing which is what's going to put so much pressure on Ange is he's spent 350 odd million. He signed 16 players. That is a squad. And we don't look any better.
I'm gonna find out, Jurgen Klopp. Don't you worry about that.
So I think, and also let's be honest, Jurgen
He
Klopp
made a Europa League final in Klopp's first season as well.
Yeah, he made a Europa League final as well. First year,
he got the Europa League final. So I think they came. Arteta bought time because he won a trophy, but Klopp came with some elite level pedigree. He was right up there at the time in Europe as one of the best. So
he was the last manager before last year to win the Bundesliga.
And what I wanted to bring up is this guy, because I wanted him, and I remember I was all over this, and I said, realistically, this is the guy I wanted at Spurs. Because I looked at him, I watched how he played, I watched how he sets up, and I thought this could work at Spurs, and he's gettable. He spent £11 million, but one player who hasn't even played yet.
No, but two.
Who did he buy? Chiesa and
the goalie.
The goalie who's
but he's on loan. It's on loan.
All right, for now to play.
Oh, one.
And what I'm seeing him do at Liverpool at the moment, it's still early doors, mate. They look brilliant.
No goals conceded.
Give it until Christmas.
No goals conceded. 3 clean sheets, by the way.
No, but give it until Christmas. Until he gets found out.
Dietrich, it's early days.
Hang on. When you say until he gets found out, right, Dietrich? When we're saying until he gets found out, I'm watching Liverpool play, and I think they've got so many good players that even if teams think they can figure it out, how are they stopping it?
No, I just want to see, like, if, let's say they get found out and someone finds a blueprint to beat Liverpool, I want to see if he can change his ways.
But that doesn't answer my question. My question is, they've got listen, have a look at the likes of Mo Salah, Diogo Jota. Look at these players.
Yeah, they have quality.
Right. So how will they get found out? They move the ball. Still put up a screenshot the other day of Liverpool's passes, I think, against Brentford.
They broke the record, Premier League record, since
how do you stop that?
Of the most complete, accurate passes in a game of football.
Let's wait and see it. I want to see I want to see them if they can stay consistent the whole year. Then I'll say, you know what, Slot is a phenomenal manager.
In the second
I just want to see.
Holland, he did this in Europe. He did this with Feyenoord for 2 seasons, and he's showing the exact same traits now at Liverpool.
I just want to see.
Another important point is Liverpool still have players that have won the league and the Champions League with them.
Top players.
Whereas we've got players that we've signed from Burnley who have had half a season because they had injuries.
I think as well, Kuva, when you look at their forward three, you've got Jota, Salah, Gakpo, and they've got Chiesa, Nunes, and there's one other as well. Forgot who it is.
Diaz.
Right? When you look at those six, then you think of Pigeon, Solanke, Kulu, Brenda, young Odebert, and Turboina. We're not even in the same league.
Oh, come on. Nunes would fit in with them.
Yeah, Nunes, you're right. Yeah.
Nunes is better than Solanke.
Nunes can score wonder goals with ease, but then the basic stuff, it's like...
I mean, the only one there that I'm prepared to give some kind of credit to is Solanke, only because he scored 19 last season.
He's not good. He's not good.
I'm trying to...
Already, Mo Salah has got 6 goal contributions in 3 games. Luis Diaz has got 4.
Diaz looks on a different level.
Diogo Jota's got 3. Like, so already 3 of their 6 forward players are more than or equal to 1 goal or assist per game, right? And that is even without Nunes hasn't started a game. Gakpo, I don't believe, has started a game either, and neither has Chiesa yet.
Do you know, Sava, who impressed me the most? It's Szoboszlai and Gravenberch. And those 2 in the midfield.
I agree.
Finally.
I agree.
Yes,
Gravenberch is a brilliant midfielder.
Szoboszlai has been phenomenal at the time.
I don't
he knows
disagree
how to
with you.
use his players. He puts the players in the correct positions.
But do you know what's for? Do you remember when
it's the way slot attacks is so different to us.
But did you see?
You're gone, sorry.
No, do you remember when you did a analysis on Slot and you said like he leaves like 2 center backs? Do you remember like he said he plays like kamikaze kind of style?
Yeah. But he has a
How
6
come
in front of them though. But he has a 6 in front of them.
Yeah, but how come like it works, but under under Ange it's completely different?
No, wait.
Because he doesn't congest. He doesn't congest.
Also, he's not doing it to the same extent now, right? In Holland, because I also did like the same thing when we were linked to him, right? He basically played what I call the 2-1-7, basically like 2 center backs, a central defensive mid, and 7 players in front of them, right? The difference is he's not doing it to the same extent now. He's actually looked at the Premier League and thought to himself, maybe, just maybe, my tactic will not work to the same extent like it did in Holland, where I had the best players in the league, right?
Some of the best, because sometimes it was
some of the best.
Sometimes it was
but when he won the league, right?
Yeah. Stel, could you bring up 11:29 good beats end? I just want to make a point here, right? I understand when this point is made about Man City, I get it, right? But in the last 5 years, Tottenham have outspent Liverpool tenfold. We've outspent Liverpool. Yeah. So what is the excuse? We are outspending Liverpool, but Liverpool are buying smarter players. Liverpool in that time have bought Gravenberch. He wasn't super expensive. Dominic Szoboszlai, right? He was less than
I think 70 or 60.
Right. No, he was 75 mil.
Right, but they're buying smart players. We are spending more than Liverpool. So when we're saying we can't compare our operation, he said what level we are operating on comparing us with Liverpool. What? Because Liverpool have bought sensibly. We can't blame Liverpool for spending sensibly. If anyone remembers, 9 or 10 years ago, I don't know. I might be. Sorry, I don't think I'm going back that far.
2000 era of Liverpool.
No. Even when Klopp was there, when we had Poch and Klopp had just arrived, Tottenham had finished above Liverpool for 9 out of 10 seasons. Does anyone remember this? Still, you must remember this, right? We finished above Liverpool for 9 out of 10 years, right?
We were equal with Liverpool going into the second season. We were above Liverpool going into the second season at Wembley. I remember because we beat them 4-1 that in the first season at Wembley.
We were so much better than them as a football club at the time, and since then, right? Let's say since then, Liverpool have gone. Spurs have gone.
I love the sound effects.
Do you know what it is? When people say we can't compete with Liverpool, we've spent more money than Liverpool. We've spent more money. The difference is
the difference is
we'll go and buy Alisson. Liverpool will go and buy a Van Dijk. Spurs, we want to buy an Archie Gray, and people want to talk about that being a project. Right, so for me, I'm sorry. I get it with Chelsea. I get it with Man City. I get it with Man United spending. But please, can we not say, we can't compete with Liverpool when we make more money than them as a club and spend more money than them as a club? They are just better run than us.
Liverpool pushed on. We didn't. And what Liverpool did when they knew Klopp was leaving, they put in a succession plan. All my Liverpool friends were saying to me, what we're going to do. I said, guys, you are going to have a manager lined up. He's going to come in and there'll be a succession to Klopp and it will be Klopp type football, but a different version of it. It'll be the similar type of attacking possession base. And that's exactly what happened. Spurs, we go from Nuno to Stellini to Conte to Ange. It's one extreme to the other. There's no, we just make up as we go along. There's no plan at Spurs. That's the difference.
Of course. Exactly. So when that guy's come back and said, the difference is, Sava, we've had 4 managers in that time. That's not Liverpool's fault. That's us being run badly as a football club, right? At the end of the day, Liverpool bought well for Klopp and he was there for 9 years and won everything in world football, right? We have bought badly year after year after year. But the difference is we buy badly and masquerade it as projects. So we buy these poor players. We buy these poor players, and then we have the audacity to turn around and go, but in 3 years, we're going to be amazing.
Also, you know, Savakis, like many people are making the point that Ange brought in all those signings, right? And at least my personal feeling is that it's not exactly, all of them are not exactly his signings, right? It's not like he's choosing the player, pointing a finger at the player and saying, I want this guy, right? I think sometimes it's, I accept the guy that you guys present to me, right? I think the difference is what Liverpool did, right? When Klopp wanted, what's the famous example? He wanted...
he wanted Julian Brandt.
Yeah, Julian Brandt, right? They told him, no, we are going to give you Mane and Salah, two guys that you didn't want, right? Because we have a good scouting system and we actually find talent, right? I think it's not only paired with our suicide tactics, but I also think, I kid you not, I could do a better fucking job at scouting sitting in front of my PC in Poland than some of those guys do.
I agree.
Don't know how we are fighting these guys and spending so much money on them.
Do you know what hurts?
Listen, that's not a serious point, of course, right? I think they are better qualified than me, of course, right? But it's just
Michael, don't justify. You would listen. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to see that Jota at Wolves is a good player. As soon as Jota went to Liverpool, we all said that's a good player they've signed. He's a really, really good player.
Someone signed a Boma.
We signed Richarlison for £20 million more, and we're like, what are we doing? Why? Like, there's not
data.
Every rival fan said, shit, Liverpool got Jota. Every rival fan said, they got Richarlison.
Yeah, but you know,
you don't need to be a scout. You don't need to be a scout for that.
Yeah, you said data and started laughing, right? I actually think if you can, like, I'm a data analyst, right? I majored in data analysis, right? I think if you create a good model and you know what you are doing and you know what you are looking at, it's data is beneficial to finding good players, right? But I don't know what kind of fucking model we are using if Richarlison is the one that comes out of it, right?
But Michael, doesn't it help? I think data helps, but it can't. You can't be going to a game and saying that player can play out. Do you know what I mean? This is the problem.
That was my point, right? When you create a good model and you know what you are doing and you know your trade and you know things about football, right? Data can help you find a good player, but it's not a substitute to you choosing a player, right? It shouldn't be like, oh, listen, Odobert has 5 percentile more successful dribbles than fucking Nico Williams. That's why we are going to sign Odobert, right? Just using those two as an example, right?
But Mikhail, you know what they've done?
Use your eye as a scout to say, no, that Nico Williams guy looks.
But Mikhail, they're genius. Yeah. They're absolutely genius. Levy and co. Now saying that we're moving to a data model, they're genius because slowly but surely, look at every single time Spurs sign a player who has done nothing in football, but we go and sign them because they're cheap. Every fan goes, well, if you break down the statistics of Odegaard of dribbling against other 19-year-olds in Europe, but no one actually talks about
the same stats as Nico Williams.
Right. But, so that argument kills me. He's got the same stats as Nico Williams, who just ripped up the Euros.
You know what the most ironic thing for me is, right? Most of those people who say that were the guys who in primary school said that maths is useless and they are not going to use it anywhere, right? And now they are fucking mathematicians and know, this and that and look at the chance creation, look at the successful take-ons, through balls, expected goal involvement and all that stuff. Those statistics are useless if you know what you are doing, right? But I hate those Twitter weirdos who just look at that big number, good, right?
I'm going to add further. Yeah, I'll add further to that. The nonsense about using stats.
Yeah.
Show me the stats that tell me where a player could have made a pass but didn't.
Oh God, yeah.
That's why Harry Winks gets up there high on stats. Can be all sideways, get a high percentage of completed passes. Ignores the fact he could have made 3 or 4 forward passes.
Kuva, if you and I, all of us here, if we all took a little day trip out 2 years ago, right, to watch Wolverhampton Wanderers play football, right? And we all had seen Diogo Jota, right? None of us need to get out our calculators and get out our data to say, wow, that boy's going to be a player.
That's my point.
I'll disagree.
Yeah, that's also my point, right?
You have to
Data
get out your
can
calculator,
help.
otherwise how can you spell boobs?
Boobies. You can get boobies. You can get seven that way. But this is the point. I'm not saying data can't help, right? Of course, data can help, but we didn't need. Stell's brought up the best point ever. None of us needed any data to look at Richarlison at Everton and go, no, we don't want him. None of us. But what we're doing now is we've done that with Solanke, and fans have convinced themselves that because he's the one we bought, they've molded his stats to fit the style of play we've got and said, he's perfect. He's genius.
Even Timo Werner.
Right?
Even Timo.
Timo Werner was the worst one.
And Timo Werner.
The selective nature of people saying, oh, look
Even Brennan Johnson, there's no. Even Johnson, there's no. I mean, Beetlejuice, there's no stat that can tell me he's made for this system. Go ahead.
Dietrich, right? You said about like Johnson, right? People say about look at the successful take-ons of Johnson. Look at the kilometers covered. Look at this. Look at that, right? Look at 16 fucking big chances this last season. 16.
That's
the second player in our team had 8.
Wait. Check this out. So someone sent something to me yesterday.
Same thing with Werner instead. You said it, right? When Ali Gold was saying, oh, look at the successful dribbles. Look at that. Look at the shot conversion rate. 8%.
Look at the shooting accuracy. Look at the goals scored.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a stat that was sent to me yesterday on Brennan Johnson across all European leagues, right? The top 18 European leagues. So Steve, you like this because you watch European football. Across all 18 top division European leagues, 18 countries, the top 3 big chances converted. I know Lewandowski came third, and I can't remember the other 2. The bottom 3 players across all of these leagues. Who's in the bottom 3? Brennan Johnson. Across all of Europe.
Mate,
you know this. Do you know after 3? Sorry, do you know after 3 games? Sorry. No, just quickly. Do you know after 3 games, Brennan Johnson is number 1 for big chances missed?
Of course he is. Of course.
And it's 2.
Do you know how hard it is to miss 16 big chances? Big chances are basically almost a goal. If you fucking have skill, right? So I'm sorry that I'm starting to swear, but it really pisses me off, right? Because people will say, oh, look at the data, and then data gets bad rep, right? Because fuck data, I am an ice merchant, right? And whatever. You can use both, right? But when you look at a player, look at all the statistics that are relevant to the position that the guy plays, right? The best one for me is when people say about the successful tackles for a winger, or when the winger goes back to defend and puts a pressure on the attacker. Who gives a fuck if he's not scoring goals? I'm sorry, it's such selective.
This is the best way to describe data. This is the best way to describe data in sports. Would you, if you're taking a girl out for a date, would you offer her breadsticks as the main cuisine? No, it's an appetizer, just like data. Data is an appetizer for the main entree, which is watching games of football, seeing who stands out, first touch, all this stuff. You would not just eat breadsticks. You would want to have a main course. That's what it is with data.
Let me ask you.
It's a nice appetizer, but
if you were a manager, Steve, if you were a manager, right? Let's say Tottenham Hotspur manager, and somebody comes up to you and says, Luis Diaz is available.
Yeah.
All right. If you were the scout and you said Luis Diaz is available, his agents contacted me, I would not expect my manager at any point to turn. I'm just using Diaz as an example, to turn around and go, sorry, could we get some data on this guy? You'd be like, yeah, it's Luis Diaz. Do you know what I mean? And this is where I think it's all gone a bit. I think it's all gone a bit crazy. We can look at stats, we can look at data, but this isn't Moneyball. I know everyone goes back to this Moneyball film that was Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, where that famous team got rid of all the best players and brought in the data. But this is not that. This isn't that. This is a very different sport. And we really...
But Liverpool did it.
With who?
No, wait, Dietrich. Let me hold on.
Hang on, Dietrich, with who?
No, they did the Moneyball with basically just...
But there's a difference.
With
there's a
who?
difference, right? What Liverpool did with Klopp, I know what you're talking about, and they actually took the Spurs guy over to them to help them do it. This is the thing, right? I when I did my masters, I had to do statistical maths, and they taught us this. Stats has to be one of many variables used to come to a conclusion, right? So in football, this is what should really happen if you want to use data. Use data, use the eye test, listen to experts in the industry, and speak to those that have worked with the player, right? Once you've done all that, you can begin to formulate the best possible conclusion. If you just do eye test, you'll miss out on the data of the player. The eyes might deceive you. If you just do data, well, you haven't seen the player play. How can you sign him? If you don't speak to experts in the industry who might know something you don't, you're missing out on expert knowledge. And if you don't speak to his manager, you won't get a proper insight into what the player's home life is like and what he's like in the dressing room, stuff like that.
All that.
Yeah. So data has to be one of many components.
Yeah.
And Liverpool did that. They didn't just go data. They didn't do that. I guarantee you. There's no way you scout Mane just on data. They've watched him play. Right?
Do you think they scouted? Do you think they scouted Virgil van Dijk and Alisson on data, or do you reckon they watched Virgil van Dijk and went,
No, of course not.
Jesus Christ, this is
data helped. Data helped, but it wasn't the main.
They used it as a supplement.
One at a time.
To confirm what they are seeing, right?
Sure, Michael, but let's be fair. The whole of Europe was looking at Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, there are certain players
we didn't. No one was going to look at Virgil van Dijk and go, "Oh, we really like him on the eye," but his data. This is where I think it gets silly. No one needs data to know that you would take Luka Modric in a heartbeat. No one needs data to say that Rodri is one of the best players in the world. I don't need data. I watch the man run games of football. Right? No one needs data to know that Kevin De Bruyne is the best playmaker in the country. Yeah. We don't need data to know that Erling Haaland scores goals for fun.
But you need
the best players, right?
You're talking about the best players, but look at Darwin Núñez. If you use the data, you would know he's not that good. On the eye, he looked good against Liverpool when he played in the Champions League, but the data said he wasn't that good.
In modern day sports, you've got to use as many tools as possible. Yeah. That's because the game's changed, the speed of the game, everything. If you just do there's certain players, for example, you watch Mbappe, you don't need to look at anything else once you see him.
Of course.
He's class, right? You watch Zidane, you get it. But for a lot of other players, you need a bit more, I think. And that's just where sports is now.
And Darwin Núñez is the perfect example. Good on the eye, but data said no.
No, hang on. But again, if we're going to talk about Darwin Núñez, right? What's so bad about him?
He doesn't finish his chances.
Lack of composure.
Okay.
Actually, Darwin Núñez was in the bottom three with Brennan Johnson for big chances missed in Europe.
Sure, okay, sure, he could be. But look at what he's contributed to Liverpool in the 2 seasons that he's been there. He's got very good stats. Yeah, he's helped them win 2 trophies. What's so bad about Darwin Núñez? Is it that he doesn't score 30 a season?
No, he just misses too many chances.
Sure, but he's still sure, but he's part of 4 or 5. He's not the main man, is he? Do you know what I mean? No. It's not like Spurs where we keep trying to find that one Harry Kane player who's the key man. Liverpool have 5 or 6 of them that share it around all of them. So, for example, when people say things like, "Oh my God, Luis Diaz doesn't score or assist enough, Núñez doesn't, Gakpo doesn't, Jota doesn't, Salah," when you add all of them together as a collective, they've got all of that done brilliantly. If you look at it, no.
Yeah, but I know those players weren't like at their peak, but just for the lack of a better example, right? Let's look at, for example, Darwin Núñez and Viktor Gyökeres, right? Playing for Sporting right now. I think they are like a really similar output in Portugal, right? 30 goals a season, there's just wonder kids blooming out of nowhere, right? I think what data could then, with two similar players, data could then show you that Victor Gyökeres is way better at finishing chances, has higher, conversion rate, right? I think this is what data should be used for, right? You can actually see two players really similar on the eyes, similar outputs, right? When you watch their games, they look lively, they look like they are scoring a lot, right? But then you add onto that, right? The data that you have gathered from the guy, and you see that Victor, just example numbers, right? You see Victor Gyökeres has 60% conversion rate and David Nunes has 20, right? And then based on that, you can make a decision to sign Victor, right? Instead of David Nunes. That's the way I see it, right? I of course I get it with top 5% of players in the world like Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland. You don't need data, right? Data is useless. You just watch them play, they are brilliant, right? But I think when you want to make a choice between two very similar players, then going into data or going into things that Stel mentioned, which is contacting the players, surroundings, finding out how they are, how they behave.
So can I give you some information though?
Yeah.
Darwin Nunes has played 95 games for Liverpool. How many goal contributions do you think Darwin Nunes has got in 95 games for Liverpool?
56.
Between 50 and 60, I think.
57 goal contributions in
off.
95 games. I'm sorry, if Spurs had someone that gave us 57 goal contributions in 95 games, we'd be going, oh my God, what a signing. Who scouted him? But because he's at Liverpool, we're going, he's busted that player.
No, but at the same time, he has Luis Diaz. No, but he has better players at the same time that can help him with the assist.
Yeah, but Dietrich, this is the thing. So whatever we're saying about him, you're finding a reason as to why his good stats are bad.
No, I'm not finding it away. I'm just saying, if it was at Spurs, he would not have the same stats. That's just what I'm trying to say.
You don't. But again, you can't clarify that. If for the last 2 years he'd been at Spurs, that he's been at Liverpool, in year one he would have been playing with Son and Kane in their peak. So he would have. So again, if we're going to say that, Darwin Nunes, Son and Kane as a front three would have been very interesting. But
I think the trouble with Nunes is that his misses are spectacular. They're really memorable, and it sticks with people. So many times he'll miss a sitter, and everybody goes, "How the hell did you miss that?"
The Man United games last year, and remember when they played Man United away in the Premier League? When this is in a crucial moment of their season where they could go for Prem, Europa, Carabao, they already had sealed up, I believe, at that point, and the FA Cup. They went to Old Trafford, and Nunez, along with Diaz as well. Let's not forget Diaz, because he's a player that I think will improve under Slot. Keep in mind that at those two games at Old Trafford in about the span of 2 weeks, FA Cup and the Prem, I believe he started both, and he missed some big. Him and Diaz both missed some big chances. That game. And after that Old Trafford game in the Prem, they never really looked the same after they faded out of the title race. It wasn't just on Nunez. It wasn't just on Nunez. And
Steve, I'm not dating that. I'm not sitting here arguing that Darwin Nunes is the greatest player that has ever graced the Premier League. But my point is this: it's so. What I find is how biased fans can be. As I said, right. If we had a player that had 57 goal contributions in 95 games, we'd be sitting there saying, that's a great return. But because he's done it at Liverpool, bearing in mind, he is not the focal point of Liverpool's attack. He is not the main man. Salah is the main man in Liverpool's attack. Salah is the one that gets 30 goals a season because he is their star attraction. But Darwin Nunes, listen, do you know what? And here's another stat that, like Hoover said, certain stats that you can't quantify. You ask any defender who plays against Darwin Nunes, if they come off that pitch and they've enjoyed it, he is a bully. He chases down every ball. He's good in the air. He loves the battle. He's annoying to play against. Yeah,
Just like Richarlison.
but no, nothing like nothing like.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
But because he doesn't get 30 goals a season, it's he's terrible. And I think that if you look back, Liverpool will go, well, hang on, every year that he's been here, we've won something. He's contributed a lot of goals, a lot of assists. No one's tried to sell him. He plays a lot of games over the year. I don't think he's as bad as fans make out. And I liken him to another player that gets a lot of stick but does very well is Kai Havertz. He's another one that gets stick after stick after stick, but the job he's doing at Arsenal is really bloody good. Yeah? Really, really bloody good.
Nunes, I can
You
understand.
could even apply it to our own Sonny. Young Son, he gets a hell of a lot of stick he doesn't deserve. He's got great numbers.
He's got he's got brilliant numbers. Yeah, for sure. He's got brilliant. I think the difference is he's coming that way in his career, right? And the other two, if we're looking at Darwin Nunes and Havertz, they're at 20. I don't know. They're at 24.
24, something like that, right? 24.
But listen, guys. Go on, sir. Sorry, finish.
No, I was just last thing I'll say is again, like when people just freely shout out things like Havertz is rubbish. Watch what he does for Arsenal. He was instrumental to Arsenal being in a title challenge last year because of his versatility, because of the number of goals, because of the assists, because he brings others into play, because he's not selfish. But because he's not getting 30 goals a season, people go, he's no good. Some players just aren't that guy.
No, but if you look why people are giving him stick, look at the game against Brighton. He had a chance where he could have scored and he missed.
Okay, but
a quality player would score.
But Dietrich, but sorry, but this is where it's ridiculous. Are we saying that Sonny takes every chance he gets? Are we saying that Erling Haaland takes every chance he gets? Players are going
to be fair, the way Haaland is playing,
right now, yeah.
Like
but we can't when fans pick out one game where a player didn't take a chance or something, it kind of negates the rest of the season where they've played really bloody well. And Arsenal fans berated that signing last year. By the end of the season, Arsenal fans were all going, I get it. I get what Arteta saw and I get what he wanted to do. And his stats last year for the position he played were very, very good.
I just think that chance it could have given 3 points and might have won the league. I'm just saying, like it's those chances that you need.
That's why he's not an elite striker, right?
Yeah,
that's my point.
I didn't say he's an elite striker.
That's why he's not.
No, but Dietrich keeps saying words like Dietrich. I've noticed when you talk about football, everyone's shit or they've got to be elite. It feels like there's no middle ground. And the thing is,
you cannot deny that. You cannot deny that.
Of course, no.
And when you've got a player like Havertz, when you've got a player like Darwin Nunes, sometimes, and this is where the critical thinking comes into it. You've got to look at them being of a cog in a wheel. Some players aren't hard; they're not Haaland, right? But they're there. They serve a purpose. We've got players that don't even serve a purpose, right? But yet we want to knock Havertz, who's at Arsenal in league title challenges. Darwin Nunes, who's at Liverpool winning trophies every season. I think before we worry about what those players are doing who win things, we should worry a little bit more about the crap we're buying in.
I agree. I completely agree with you. No, I agree with you what you're saying, Savo. But for me, I could have suggested players like Havertz and Nunes because for me, they're not quality enough to start for those teams. That's why I just criticize them. For me, Havertz, if they had, like, for example, I'm just saying, Gorkiras, for example, he would be starting this game over Havertz. Havertz would just be a bench player.
Yeah, but so you're saying, right? Hang on. Sorry, I know you want to win this, but hang on. Sorry, but this doesn't make this doesn't make any sense, right? When you're saying he's not quality enough to start in that team, Kai Havertz last season started 37 games for a team that lost the league title by 2 points.
So wasn't injured. He wasn't injured. Gabriel Jesus.
But Dietrich, sorry, I'm going to call you out. I'm sorry. Every
injured?
time I see you debate, you've got an excuse for everything. Well, oh, he wasn't injured. Listen, the guy's kept himself fit. He's played 37 games for a team that finished second in the league, 2 points off of Man City, right? He's scored 13 goals, got 7 assists. So every other game he's contributing a goal or assist. And we're going, he's not good enough to start for them. Well, clearly he is.
He ain't finished second. What a loser.
Yeah, I know. This is what I mean. I don't get it. Why is he not good enough to start for them?
He's not. It's not.
Because I think there's just
it's
better
not good.
players.
I don't.
No,
think
hang on. That's not. Hang on. Sorry, Steve. Dietrich. That's the question. Isn't that's like me saying, all right? If I say to you all now, is Romero good enough to start for Spurs? What would everyone say?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there better centre backs in the world than Romero?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But so that argument doesn't mean anything. Just because there's better players out there doesn't mean he shouldn't be starting. They've bought him.
Sava, there aren't any better centre backs in the world. Romero is fucking best, you know.
Dietrich, they've bought him for a reason.
Negative.
He's contributed and has been one of the main players in getting them in a title challenge where they've lost out by 2 points. How is he not good enough to start for them?
By the way,
No, it's just like mine is more like I'm just saying, like, if they had better players, he would not be starting. But unfortunately, that's not the case. That's what I'm saying.
unfortunately.
But sure, but that's like that. You could say that for any player in world football, couldn't you?
No, because like if Jesus, for example, was fit, I would imagine he would be starting over Havertz.
But
that's what I'm saying.
why when
When
Jesus was fit last season, Havertz was starting every game and Jesus was coming off the bench.
Wasn't he Jesus starting? Then when he got injured, Havertz took his place.
Well, Havertz.
I might be wrong.
We played 37 games, so he couldn't have. I
No,
just
how many
don't
did he start?
understand. I don't understand.
Let's move on from Havertz.
Before I wrap it up, because he's been wanting to ask a question for a while. So Steve, this is it. Final discussion point of the night.
What was the turning point in today's game for everyone?
That's a good question.
What was the
Us
turning?
missing shitloads of chances.
I think Odebert's miss.
Yeah, I think ever since
No, that wasn't.
Wait. Start. What I think, if my mind serves me correctly, when we wasted the chance that came from Son's press on Berg, I think it was around like 70th minute, 72nd or something like that, right? I think from that point, you guys subbed on Tonali, or like he was subbed on for like 2 or 3 minutes at that point, I think, if my mind serves me correctly. But I think from that point, when we missed that chance, you started to take control over the game. You scored the goal. Then you went back into, your defensive shape. But I think then it was too late to do any damage, right? I think that was the turning point.
Yeah, Tonali made a big difference to Newcastle as well, I think.
For 2 reasons. Number one, he's better than Longstaff. And number 2, the crowd got something to cheer about because an injection of a high quality player. That for me, and that's something that when you pulled up the bench, that for me, if this was the reverse fixture and it was at your ground, who's coming on that's bringing that off of your bench to get the crowd like, oh my God, we have X, Y, Z off the bench.
Do you mean
I'm not saying Newcastle do outside of Tonali.
Steve, the turning point was your goal. I think that goal took the wind out of us because we were on top. We had the possession, we had the momentum. Okay, we weren't creating, we weren't scoring, but there was only one team that looked like they were going to win that goal was completely against the run of the play. Yeah. And I think that was such a sucker punch.
Complete sucker punch. And
here's the thing. When that happens to us, and it happened at Leicester, we wobble. We don't know what to do. And I think that's
honestly, I'm surprised we didn't wobble after the first one. Because after the first one, Sam James really went into the game, and you guys really started like cheering, singing. And I feel like even though this happened,
but you know what saved us? You know what saved us? When Bentancur got injured against Leicester, that saved us because it bought us time. The referee's batteries went on his headset, and that bought us that.
The ref was injured. The ref was injured, by the way.
The ref was injured.
Okay. The Lino got injured.
That saved us.
Like the Lino went to. the technical referee, and the technical referee became the line.
I think the Brennan Johnson miss as well. I think the Brennan Johnson miss where he flicked it over with his right foot and ballooned it over from about 10 yards on his left. From that moment, and then Tonali, I think Tonali's a superb midfielder, by the way. Loves a cheeky bet, but what a footballer this guy is. And I think that through Newcastle last year, if Newcastle had Tonali all season, no offence, like instead of young Lewis Miley and Longstaff, if they had Guimaraes, Joelinton and Tonali, I think we would have seen a much more competitive Newcastle last year. So the fact you're not in Europe this year, Steve, if you can get, I don't know what's going on with Trippier, but I actually thought Livramento was good. If you can get Botman and Shah back in your defence, and you can get Tonali, Guimaraes and Joelinton on the pitch for every week, because you've got one game a week, I think Newcastle are going to be in and around Spurs this season.
I predicted Newcastle 4th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
I got a 6. I got a 6
because they are not in Europe. Because they are not in Europe, that was my...
I can't wait for us to rotate, Michael, in Europe. I cannot wait for us to rotate in Europe.
To be fair, the level of opposition we have right now, other than like Roma and Hoffenheim.
Mate, we say that, but you're going to be putting Archie Gray and Bergvals in against them, and we don't know what they're capable of. Odegaard as well. Brennan Johnson. So
I mean, I'm a Polish league enjoyer, right? And I see my teams play against Karabakh every single year, and I'm telling you, they are not great, right? So
would you guys agree?
I've seen Spurs lose to who is it we lost to the other year, guys? I think they were like the lowest ranked team in Europe.
Enes Mora.
Was it Enes Mora? Listen, Michael, it's moments like that make me never ever say this will be easy.
They're in the top 5 percentile of their league, though.
12 teams.
The Estonian Dulux Paint League.
Oh, gee. Like, I mean, let's
be
fair.
You respect the lower leagues.
Are Tottenham the only team that have been knocked out of a European competition when the opposing manager was in jail? Like this
Zagreb. Yeah.
This is why when I sit there, everyone goes, "We'll win this Europa League." There's no one that worries me, and I'm like, have we not learned from like decades of Spurs messing things up?
You
really shouldn't. Like,
it's not like you're getting. It's not like you're getting knocked out by Prime Sevilla every year.
He literally gave the halftime team talk on FaceTime from a prison cell. And he motivated them to beat us 3-0.
To be fair,
maybe we should bring him in.
Reward this, right? To be fair, if I remember that game correctly, that like 3 shots outside the box. I mean, that's not excuse. That no excuse.
Orsic got a hat trick. Oh.
Yeah, Orsic hat trick.
Orsic got a hat trick.
Michael, is that manager still out of prison, or is there any chance he can replace
him? I have no clue. That's Croatia, not Poland.
No, I didn't say. I didn't say it was Poland. I'm just wondering if that guy's available for when Ange is inevitably let go of his role.
Dynamo are in Champions League, right? They are in a
Champions League. Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up, people. We're going to wrap it up.
Really quickly. I was just going to do one last thing to wrap up the Kai Havertz.
Go for it. All right, last one.
It's part of a larger conversation we haven't got time for, but Sav and I have had this conversation before. Havertz is the modern day forward. The out-and-out striker is a thing of the past. There are just very few exceptions to it. Haaland, Lewandowski. Nowadays, you have to have an all-round game, and that means your goal-scoring numbers are not going to be those 35, 40 goals a season. They're going to be down to the 15, 20s, and then you're assisting with 15 and 20 as well. You've got to be a lot more to your game, and almost every team's doing this now.
Absolutely. Sorry, I know you're going to go still, but that's it, Kuva. If you look around Europe now, other than Harry Kane, Lewandowski, and Erling Haaland, who can you without Osserman's got 20 plus goals once. Who can you hang your hat on that they're going to bang in 30 plus goals a season?
Lautaro Martinez.
Hang on, but you didn't. Hang on. But you didn't hear the question. You're all answering. Right? Who scores 30 plus a season when fit all season? It's only Kane, it's only Lewandowski, and it's only Erling Haaland. Lautaro Martinez is 2025, right? After that, you've got what, the Vlahoviches, the Osmans, who do it every now and then. Other than that, who are the
but this is why
strikers in world football?
Right, but this is why I was against Timo Werner, because
That's
the way
right.
you need attacking forwards like Saka that are going to get you 10 to 16 goals a season.
I didn't want Werner. You're saying it like I wanted him.
No. I'm just no. Well, yeah,
Saka wanted Werner. That'll be the headline.
Deep down, you wanted him. Come on.
Listen,
but
I'm
there
wrapping
isn't,
it up.
is there, guys? There isn't. So
I could give you the next one that'll be linked in 12 months with Chelsea. I can give you that.
You could do that next week. Do it next week.
Fuck off.
Listen, we're going for 3 hours, been on shows all day. Time to wrap it up. I'll put all of Sava's, Dan's, Steve's, and there's one other, Alex's links in the description. Make sure you like and subscribe to them. Has anyone got any shows this week or any channels they want to promote quickly? Steve, Sava?
I know Sava's going to make a quick one tomorrow.
Hoover?
I don't know what's happening this week.
I'll find some game this week to do a watch along for international or freaking FA Cup, first round, whatever the hell's going on. I'll find something to do a watch along for. Tomorrow, it's the La Liga second division. So here we go. Ibar Levante. Here we go. That's it.
Can we just give props to Alejo Valise, who did his best not to score, fell over and scored, and then can I just say, sorry, I know you want to go still really quickly. Yeah. I find it hilarious. There are certain things that happen in the Spurs community where, like Valise scoring a goal, as soon as it happens, Perchy will WhatsApp me straight away, and he'll go, "Give it an hour," and I know what he means. And then within an hour, he's sending me screenshots of, "We shouldn't have let him go. He's brilliant. If you give him a chance." Like, our fan base is on point. Like, honestly, you watch, Dane Scarlett will come on for Oxford at some point, grab a goal, and we'll go, "Imagine he was in the first team against Newcastle. Yeah. He would have got the goal."
Brian Gill scored.
They're doing it with Brian Gill.
Yeah, Brian Gill scored for Girona.
And he's playing well.
Good to see Dane Scarlett's gone on another loan where he's not going to get a game. The bloke at Oxford is the top goal scorer in the championship.
Sell him already, Jesus.
Do you know what? If you're a Spurs young player in the academy, just get your training, get your free coaching, get to 18, and leave and go make a career. You're not going to get it here.
I looked at it yesterday, still, and I was like, "Did Scarlett get any?" I was like, "Oh," and then I looked at the bloke that plays for them. Is a guy called Mark Harris, and Mark Harris has got 4 and 4 or 5 and 4 or something. Oh, we are brilliant. We are superb.
He played 1 minute.
He played 1 minute.
I'm not even joking. It says 1 minute.
Well, as long as it was a good minute, right? As long as it was a good minute, it's experience.
None of them are doing anything. Thank you for the super chats from Anthony. Who else was it? A user Mark Swifty, channel members Sava. Thank you, Sava. William, Barbaric. Big up to you guys all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everyone in the chat tonight. Bless. We're live tomorrow on Tottenham away, 8:30. Iggy, the band, is back together, and we'll just be repeating everything we just did now, all over again for another 2 hours or something. So check out Sava's channel. Your guy G Chain in the chat. Are you friends with him? Yeah. So Girish is a big gooner. We lived at uni together. we were at uni together for 5 years, and we still hang out. His comments have been funny all night. I've just been reading them in the chat. He's got some very funny comments. But I just thought I'd share that. Anyway, I'm delusional. Do you know what it is, right? Do you know what it is with Arsenal fans? They don't really get what it's like to be us and what we go. They don't see it how we see it because we're just so unique to all the other big 6 clubs. We just don't operate like them, but we're in that group. It's hard to explain until you live it. But I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I wouldn't wish this misery on any fan.
Are we big 6?
I don't know how, but we are Cube.
Yes, I think that's the most bullshit statement that's ever came.
Late night.
That whole Big 6 thing created by media. I think this is
marketing.
The worst that ever happened.
But do you know what I love about it, Michael? We're the only team in that Big 6 that don't win anything. I like it. It's almost like they created it's almost like it's the big five, but they created the sixth to make Spurs fans feel a little bit better about ourselves.
Yeah. Because at certain point for like quite a lot of time we were interchanging the 6 teams pretty much always got.
No, you're never allowed to leave.
But I think that changed. Oh, no. Okay, let's not start another topic.
Just quickly, your guy GJ, look, give your team a chance. Why are you boys trying to burn the house down already? We don't have a new team. This is the same team that played last year, G-Chain. Please, you've got to know Spurs before you start saying these things. This isn't a new team. This is the same team as last year. Please, we haven't done anything different to last year, my man.
And you can't burn a house down when you haven't built one.
Other than Solanke, there's not one new first team player at Spurs. The rest are kids that are on loan or on the bench or just hanging around the academy, just cleaning other people's boots.
Oh, God.
Anyway,
sorry. I'm going to shut
We're
up.
out of here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Take care. I'm hitting the outro video. Come on, you Spurs.
Away the
Can we play you every
Away
week?
the lads.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.